Yeah, this is another Yowie Hangout, and it's just a pop-up one. Nothing that's been really planned. I haven't talked to Josh yet, and I was wanting to do it before, but unfortunately, because of work and time restrictions, I wasn't able to. So I messaged him today and said, "Would you want to come on and just have a chat?" And he said, "What's it going to be about?" And I said, "Anything Yowie." So first, we'll just say hello to Josh and Dave and Adam. So anyone else might come in, can pop in at any time, or they can just watch. We've got a couple of people watching. But anyway, I'll put it over to you, Josh. What have you been up to lately over in the other side of Australia?
Cheers, Dan. Mate, I've just come back from a 2-week holiday in Busselton. I took my kids, went down and saw Mum and Dad, and then while I was down there, I thought I'd research around the back of Eagle Bay, yelling up Augusta, Mug, and I got a few YouTube videos up of myself and my son out the back of those areas, and I feel like I've found at least one habituation site. How whether it's current or an old habituation site, I've got no idea. But yeah, there's a few interesting things. I found a little rock stack on a much larger rock ledge, and we were about, I think, 15 kilometres from the nearest town in any direction. And where we were was not on a walk trail; it was in the middle of the bush. And so I found that sort of interesting. I recorded it and I left it up on my YouTube subscribers to decide whether it was or wasn't man-made. And then while I was out there, I also found what looked like a big cat print. I'm no professional at prints by any means, certainly not big cat prints, but it certainly looked interesting. So again, I did a comparison on it, and I found that just off to the side of a little game trail that I'd been following for some time. I've sort of found in the past, certainly in WA, in places like the Avon Valley dwelling up and the Moore River Nangara pine plantation, following game trails can sometimes lead to more interesting things. So, yeah, so that's what I've been doing just the last couple of weeks. And before that, obviously, I've been sort of trying to build up my channel a little bit on YouTube and cover a wide variety of things. In particular, I know David was interested in the dog accounts that I've been bringing out from people coming forward. And again, I don't say whether it is or isn't true. I break down these accounts. And yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay, yeah, it's always good to listen to people's accounts of what they've seen or heard or anything like unusual, and mostly people aren't lying, they're just telling what they have heard or seen or something unusual, because most of these people that live like farms and out in the bush, they've been there for a lot of years, so they know when something's unusual. So you kind of take, what they're saying, as it's believable. You can't. Why would they just say something unusual happened when it didn't? Because they've been there for so long. They know all the noises from cows, and all the native animals. If something unusual, they're the ones that want to take, as being really true for more than any other.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And these people that have come to share their accounts with me, they just come across as very, they're intelligent people. The account I got from the Northern Territory, out near Daly Waters, Tennant Creek area, that guy, that family owned one of the biggest cattle properties in Australia. So he had no reason to lie to me, I don't think. And the same with other people that come forward with different accounts, both Yowie related and other, I suppose, as well. I just don't. These people just seem like legitimate people. The it was the February or March issue of the Yowie Times that you brought out. I'd handed Nick from West Oz Yowie Research. I handed him an account that came to me through a farmhand that I knew in a place called, which is near Darkin in southwest WA. And, I mean, that was a really interesting account. I managed to get a bit more information out of the cocky, the farm owner, but by the time I got to Nick, the account had already been put forward to you guys and you'd already published it. But maybe on a follow-up issue of the Yowie Times, I'd like to sort of complete how everything went down in that account. But yeah, that was really interesting. There's a great big plantation, Australian blue gums and state forests semi-attached to the property.
Hey, John,
So, yeah.
can I hold you for 1 second? Can you just check your microphone? Because you keep breaking out. It's hard to hear what you're saying.
Is this better?
A bit crackly. Yeah, it's just that anyone wants to watch this a bit later, you're not really clear what you're saying. Like you can't hear it properly.
Bummer. I'll take this out. Okay, how does that sound? Is that better?
Just keep talking because it's.
Okay, so yeah, counting millions in the March issue.
You want to just drop out and then rejoin in? Just so it just seems the link's really bad.
Yes.
I can't hear you properly. Sorry about that. I might help it. Unfortunately, I was a bit hard of hearing what he was saying, so it was really crackling.
Yeah, well, it's a big distance.
Yeah, I know. What have you been up to lately, Dave?
Not much, mate.
Not much?
No, not much. Yeah, just a lot of family stuff at the moment.
Oh, that's good. How's the weather down there down your way? Pretty cold?
No, it's getting down to minus one, I think, or -2 tonight.
Oh, that's not that cold. You can walk around in your underwear. That's not that cold.
I had to put a jumper on.
Oh, gee, it must be getting cold. You got a jumper. Oh, you guys from Canberra way and down there, mate. Very hard people that they can handle the cold. I've worked with a few guys over the years on forklifts, and it's freezing cold, and they've got shorts and singlets on, and they go, "It's not cold. It's not in the minus. I'm from Canberra." I'm like, okay. So we always know when someone's from that way.
Yeah.
In a warehouse and it's freezing cold here, like 5 degrees, and they look, it's not cold, it's warm. It's not in the minus. So yeah, it's pretty funny. So,
Yeah. But I'd say that there we go.
When do you think you'll get out again, Dave?
Mate, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, but see what happens.
All right, no worries. We'll try and go back to Josh, and we'll see how it sounds now.
Okay, does it sound much better now? I can hear you a lot clearer than I could before.
Yeah, no, that's good, Josh. That's good.
Yeah, every second word was just crackly, and so
yeah,
just go back.
Bad line.
Just go back to your report about you were talking about before.
Okay, so all I was saying is the February or March issue of the Yowie Times. I think it was the March issue of the Yowie Times. Yeah. I'd put forward an account. To Nick from West Oz Yowie Research about a possible Yowie encounter in a place called Dunillion down near Darkin in southwest WA, and I was just saying that I that I got that account from, and future issue of the Times I could the full account because you guys are only part of
it. Sorry, mate. The dog keeps cutting out. Sorry, Josh. The Dog kept on cutting out Josh. No one could hear what he was saying. We're having no luck today.
Gee, you know what? I should just write it all down and hold a plaque up like they do on Channel 9.
All right. So yeah. So basically, you handed over the dog got me laughing. So you handed over the report to and I got put in the Yowie Times. What more is there to add to that story? Like that was left out.
Oh look, it was just the follow up, and like the next day, the cocky went out to the same location to have another look, and he found these great big scratch marks on the tree where he pulled up, where he could hear the sounds were coming from. And I'd asked him if he could send me a picture of the scratch marks, which were quite high up, and I'd like to be able to put them forward in the Yowie Times for you to post. But I mean, it doesn't really say much about what was out there other than his account. And like I said, he's a cocky. He wanted to remain anonymous. Yeah. And I've worked on properties and stations up north and down here in the south of WA and over east, and farm owners don't make up stories like that. They just don't. It's not in them. Cockies are often straight down the line people. So I do believe every word he said. And what I was saying before, when that dog was licking Dave's face and trying to get in on it, was I was trying to say that his property actually backs on to blue gum and pine plantation on one side, and then state forest on the other side. And that state forest sort of winds its way all the way up, eventually to Mundaring. And I just sort of think that if there is a Yowie population in that area, they're going to be using those portions of state forest and national parks that are interconnected into each other in order to get up and down.
Yeah, I find that over here. Like that's why I've gone to like around the Jamison Valley a lot and camped there a few times, and I've got my next article. Yowie Adventures of Yowie Dan is about 2 encounters I had near Mount Solitary. They've come from one side of the valley over the ridge using it to get down into the Jamison Valley. And there's been a few accounts over the years of even army guys being in there, followed, and people just saying they've seen something there. So it's always good to find a spot where they're actually coming from one side, into another valley, like you've just been talking about. So. Yeah. And
I think also, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think also that there's probably more Yowies in WA than people think. I think maybe the encounters are few and far between, as opposed to Queensland, New South Wales. But I just believe that why should Queensland have more than WA? I was looking at a Queensland map last night because, as you guys probably know by now, I'm heading over there in August for 2 months for a partial holiday, and partly because I want to get into those national parks and see what I can document. But also, the national parks over there, they sort of interconnect, and bits of state forest. Exactly as here. You can go from Avon Valley National Park down to Dwellingup National Park, state forest, all the way down the southwest coast, through the Great Southern, along the coastline and up to Esperance. So there's a huge area there that is totally unexplored. There's some places there no one's ever been before. So what's to say that they can't exist there?
Yeah, well, you're talking about how many, times people have seen something in Western Australia. Because, people look at the state in the whole. It's a big chunk of Australia, and there's a lot of places where people just aren't there, or not even living or exploring. So there's a lot of places where you're not going to be able to see them because there's no one there. And then you're saying you're going to go to Queensland, and there's a lot of bushland just outside of the main, cities. Like you look at the Gold Coast. You know, you got the Springbrook and that's not far away. It's like here at the Blue Mountains. It's within 50 kilometres of the city, which is right near the ocean. So it takes me about 40 minutes to reach the Blue Mountains, and I'm in the western suburbs of Sydney. And if I want to go to Katoomba, it's probably about an hour and a half drive. So it's not really that far away. And some of my one of my encounters was at Appin, and I looked on Google Maps, and where Appin is, you could virtually find like a bushland leading all the way back, all the way to the Blue Mountains, where they could be not seen.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we lived over in Canberra for 2 years back in 97, 96, 97, 98, Dad would take us out to, because he loved the sort of camping, bushwalking scene. He doesn't believe in it, of course, but he took us out to the back of the Brindabellas, where we had some really strange noises. Like, I've just never heard anything like it before. It sounded like a mountain lion, but obviously there's no mountain lions out there. And I always had this gut instinct that it was a Yowie call. It sort of stuck with me ever since. So when I do go over east, I'd love to get into the Brindabellas for a few days. It's, as a child, I walked from Brindabellas, Namadgi National Park, the back of Stromlo Forest before the fires went through. And I'd love to be able to get back out there if there's time. There's just there's so much forest out there. Or bush out there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Namadgi on its own is 1,000 square kilometres.
That's big.
And there's not many tracks going through it.
No, there's not. So I mean, and so Namadgi is. So Namadgi is one of my places where I had what I call a face-to-face encounter with a Yowie from what I'd consider a very close 20 metres is a very close distance to me. Too close for comfort.
Hey Dave, where was it where you were telling that you used to have trails open, but they've closed them now, so you've got to park your car and walk in before you could go in the four-wheel drive?
Most places, mate, they've put gates on all of the main access roads to the trails. Yeah, mostly you've got to walk now.
Well, that cuts down a lot of sightings, because some people just don't want to walk. They want to, drive right to where they want to go.
Yeah, you've actually got to be a hiker.
Yeah, you've got to be a hiker.
So, yeah, where you could have gone up the fire trails in a car or a vehicle before, which I used to do a lot, it's now you've got to park on the main road and literally walk in.
Okay, is that just to save like the too many people on motorbikes and stuff, or what? Why?
Oh, you could get into conspiracy theories on it, mate. But but no, I think it's just to limit the idiots getting in there and ripping it up with four-wheel drives. To be honest.
Yeah.
So there's if everybody was respectful, I'm sure they wouldn't have closed it off. But you get that small amount of people that just don't have any respect, and like even to today, I mean, if they want to get in there, they can cut the or try to cut them or oxy them off or something to get through the gates. But no, it's pretty hard to get in there nowadays. Unless you've got, special permission.
Oh, okay.
Is it like, David, is it like that with Tidbinbilla National Parks? What's that like?
Tidbinbilla is actually a managed reserve. You can drive in there, but all of you can only go on this thing called the ring road, and you pull off at the start of a trail, and then once again it's on foot.
Right, okay, cool.
Yeah, so, yeah. But, so, you could get into conspiracy theories on it, that they're trying to keep people out for that, limit access. But, no, I think it's basically to stop the idiots in society.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're asking the right man there, Josh. Dave knows all about Canberra and all the trails and where to go. So if I've got any questions, Dave's men are.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's just I hadn't been back to Canberra since 1998, and then of course after that the fires ripped through the back of Stromlo there. And,
yeah, that was in 2003.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, I remember watching it on TV and thinking a lot of my friends that I still keep in contact with, their parents lived in Revette and Duffy, along those areas where the fire was just across the road and they lost their houses. So, I tell you what, it would have been really good to over here. We had an account last year where fires ripped through down Waroona way, and there was a report that came over the two-way of a Yowie that ran out of the bush. He was, or it was on fire. In fact, I think it was a female. It was on fire, and these government cars came along and took it away. And I've been trying to get information from a firefighter who was there at the time. The information's been a little bit sketchy, so it's made me doubt his accountability of that account. But I mean, I have heard a couple of cases of that happening. So it always made me wonder when those fires ripped through Stromlo and the Blue Mountains there, whether something like that had happened elsewhere.
Yeah, fair enough.
Never heard about one being on the fire getting caught. So, yeah.
Oh, no, it's just, Stromlo Forest was a big forest and that backed onto an even bigger forest. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, all that area had historical reports from the 1800s and early 1900s. The early settlers actually had reports around that Stromlo area, and they had no reason to lie, and they were all honest members of the community. So well-respected members of the community. So, I couldn't imagine anything changing really in the next 150 years, but that fire certainly would have changed the whole dynamic. You wouldn't know the fire's been through it now. It's all total regrowth. It's as thick as, and it's almost ready for another fire.
Wow, it's amazing how nature reclaims the area, isn't it?
Yeah, because for such a barren wasteland for so many years, now it's just incredibly thick. But anyway, fellas, I've got to be somewhere at 8 o'clock, so I'll watch the replay of this after you guys have finished talking. Have a good night, and I'll catch you later.
Thanks for joining us, Dave. Have a good one.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Dave's pretty good about knowing. He knows all about the Canberra area, all the trails, and a lot of history. He's done a lot of research into the history of the area. So if you need to ask anything about that area, he's the man to ask. So,
cheers, Dan.
Hey, we've got Adam here. Can you hear us? Yeah.
I can hear you now.
Oh, good.
Had major technical issues trying to get it logged in. It's just,
I see you joining and left about 10 times, maybe more.
yeah, it wouldn't work on certain browsers. It didn't matter what I tried. So I got in eventually, but
stuff happens. Anyway, I just want to say on this, this coming June is 1 year since I started the Yowie Times. I never thought that it would probably last 1 year. But yeah, it's been pretty cool. I've probably got, in the last 2 months, I've probably got about 40 or 50 more subscribers. So I think I'm up to in the high 200s. So probably within another issue or two, I'll probably be over 300 subscribers. It seems to be every time I advertise it, like the new one coming out, people see it and join. And I've been lucky to have so many people wanting to put an article on there about, everything and anything about Yowies, even camping, what like Adam does, some tips and techniques. He's pretty good at all that kind of stuff. So that's why Adam's the man to do that for me. I've had, any time I can get an article from someone, I put it in, because there's not always like the researchers I got and like Dave and yourself. they're not always going out because of different things with family or work, or they're sick. So sometimes it's not always going to be the same article every month. It's only when they go out, research, and get something decent to write about. We don't want just, put an article in for the sake of saying, oh, I'll put one in for the month and it's crap. So, yeah, that's basically what it is. So we want to keep the articles as best as we can. It's a free monthly magazine. It's not, we're not professionals, so we're not charging any money. And that's the last thing on my mind. I just wanted to put something out there for people to read. And, anyone that wants to put an article in, please email me and, say they want to do an article. So, this month's it's 1 year since I had a thought in my mind for maybe, I think about 2 or 3 weeks about, there should be like a Yowie magazine, someone should do one. And then I thought, oh, I might write one, because that was when Adam and myself and my wife went to Marramara and we had the Yowie house. And that's what we think, the Yowie house. They were, Josh, they were really loud. They were like someone had a megaphone and it was just going through the whole valley. And there was no like a dingo noise, and it wasn't like up and down when they start losing the oxygen in their lungs. It was just full on, like raw, like this thing had a big chest. So I wrote about that and did a couple other little things, and it was like a 6-page, magazine. And I thought, I'll see how it goes. So I put it out there, and people read it. Oh yeah, this is really good. People should have been doing this. We want to. People are like, yeah, make it better, make it bigger. I'm like, oh, okay. So I started doing the next couple, and I really didn't know anything about Microsoft Publisher. My wife knew a bit about it. So after I've been doing it for a year, I've become pretty good at knowing all about Microsoft Publisher, and I kind of whip up, the pages pretty quick. It's just editing and then putting it in, and then double checking, and then it's like, I see it after I do a page, and I'm, this color doesn't work, and change it until I get it right. So that's why I always ask all the article writers, please, can you get your articles in quick? Because between work and then taking my kids to sport and things like that, I've got to get time to get it done. And I don't want to rush it. I want to make every article look pretty good, so the best I can. So, and sometimes I'll get pictures, and I've got to get on different programs and then take the background out, and sometimes there might be it takes away half the picture, so I've got to put a black line in to join it up, so there's not an opening there, so it doesn't wipe half the picture out. It's like them things sometimes take me half an hour to do some little tiny picture that's only real small, and try and take the background out. So I've had articles that have taken me like 4 hours to finish. It might be 3 pages, but it's 4 hours to do that one article. So and sometimes I've finished an article at like midnight. If it's Friday night, I might start it, at 7 o'clock. I might finish it at like 11:30 or midnight just to get it right, But what I usually do is, my main thing is to get the editing of the story right, and I'll put it onto the page, and then I'll add the backgrounds and that later. That's an easy thing. It's just to get the writing onto the page. And I've had a couple of American guys send me some articles, and sometimes they're like 8 pages long. So I just want to get the writing onto the page. I'll save it, and then I'll come back later and I'll do the heading and that, which is the easy part. And then sometimes things don't line up, and you just got to like delete it all and then redo it again. So sometimes things are a bit of pain in the ass, but that's what editing's all about. So I do my best. I'm no professional, never done it before. I kind of got better in some things. So hopefully, a lot of people, I'll get emails and I'll go, oh, when's the next issue coming out? And I'm like, the 7th of every month, So sometimes I do put up, maybe a day or two before. For the next 20 minutes, if you want the Yowie Times, you have to be online. I'll send it to you. So if some people are like, oh yeah, I want it. So that's pretty good. I'll do that on the odd occasion, not every month. But I'm glad I got some good researchers like yourselves and Dave and some other guys that put their hand up and they'll write something every month. I'm gonna add Well, there's another article that I'm going to add this month. It's just all about lookouts. So it's just going to give you lookouts that mainly around Australia, but if anyone wants to send one in that's overseas, so just take photos of where you are in the lookout and then just write where the lookout is, so people can, if they're on a trip, they might go, I might go and have a look at that. So just trying to mix up different things, it's not always just about, like I've got my Yowie stories and stuff. It's different things got to do with being out in the bush, so that's why we do the safety things and what clothes you can wear, and Adam does one about the ones that cost a lot, and then your budget stuff. So a lot of times, like we go to Aldi, we're always posting like the thermals from Aldi. I've got a couple of pairs here, and they're cheap and they're really good. They're just as good as the ones you're going to get at Kathmandu that you're paying $100 for, and we're paying $30.
I've never even walked into a Kathmandu before.
They're just as good or really good. What's that, Adam?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry, man.
That was me.
Oh, sorry. Every about couple of minutes, my whole screen freezes, and I don't even know what's going on. It's like everyone's stood still. So it just must be the link. So
that's all good. I was just saying, Dan, that I've never even stepped foot inside an anaconda or a Kathmandu. Everywhere I've gone has been like Aldi and those cheap places you talk about, and it's always been reasonable quality. And I've used gear for hiking and gear for camping, and everything's always lasted as long as I look after it, and I get the kids to look after it. Everything lasts, and those thermals that you're talking about, they're great. I just bought some. I bought a set for $29, bargain.
Yeah, I've got a top which is a merino thermal, but I want to get the pants as well. So they're actually they're on sale from yesterday till the 25th. So we'll probably go to Aldi tomorrow to get some, so I want to get another.
Oh, mate, definitely. I bought some because I've just done a video on the other channel, Backyard 4x4, of me and the kids down at Canebrake Pool in southwest WA, and I totally underestimated how cold it was this time of the year compared to where I'm living now, 55 k's north of Perth, where it's sunny and beautiful and 28 degrees every day, and then you get down there, and my minimum in north of Perth here is 19, 22 degrees at night, and down there it's like 4 degrees, and I totally didn't realise that, and we totally froze.
Now, the Aldi thermals, they're on special from Saturday the 19th.
It said,
cool.
But didn't it say from the 16th to the 25th?
Special buys on sale Saturday the 19th of May for the wool thermals.
Oh, okay. It's the 19th. All right. They must just have all the other stuff from
they have two different dates within their catalogues.
Actually, these are the thermals I got at the top. Is it here, mate? Yes. Where is it? I'll just here somewhere. Where is it?
I've only had one issue with buying stuff, like the budget stuff, and I've recently bought one of the winter sleeping bags from Aldi, and the drawstring around the hood that cinches the hood on the sleeping bag tight. When I went to test it, the stitching ripped open.
Oh, right.
Yeah, literally, I was just testing it on the couch, just all the zips and everything working and that. But went to pull the drawstring, and the stitching all just ripped open about that much.
Wow.
Mrs. took it down back to Aldi's, and they swapped it over without even looking at it. Like, just get another one, no worries. So,
wicked.
She didn't even want to look. She I believe you.
She must have had someone else come in and do it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's the thermal that I've bought before. This one's got a bit of a zipper at the front here, but I think the other ones haven't got a zipper there. They're kind of different type. They're more like the tight ones, where this one's loose. This one was actually about, I think it was like $40 or something for just this top. But I wear it at home all the time, so and I love it. It's really good. I actually wore it the other day when we went out to Megalon Valley. I was trying to get. Oh, this is what I'll show you. This is what I got, and which I'm just trying to work out that that's not a double
print, yeah. I don't think it is. It's way too big, mate, for a wombat. It's way too big. Look at the size of it. Put your hand against it, mate. Put your hand against it.
You see?
Yeah, no, there's no way that's a bloody wombat. You're kidding me.
What,
The wombat would be as big as you.
what I'm looking at is you got your one there, one finger here. Just let me do it again. One there, and you got the second, third, and fourth, and then this part. I'll just try and shine it. This part here is like this part on your hand, and then you got the gap here, where you can see is in here, and then all this part here, and then the thumb is all here. And when you look at a wombat's foot, it looks very flat. Doesn't look like it's got
flat. It's quite more narrowed as well.
Yeah, it actually goes down. Like I did take a photo of one the other day. It was a good print, and it actually had the little nodules that are on the bottom of their feet. It was actually in the mud, and I actually used up all my casting material. But where it was on a creek, and it was on a slant. So if I put casting material there, I'd have to really just like pour it in really slow, so it just wouldn't run away, because there was nothing to stop it from just running away out of the print. So, yeah, it looks. That's what I. This wasn't the best print. The best print was one. There was probably about 5 or 6 of these, but the only thing was, well, the best print end up. I went there on I think it was a Friday, and I went, hey, I want to get some casting material. I want to come back. So I come back on a Saturday, but overnight it rained for about half an hour, and it was enough for the water to go up like 1 foot and cover the print, the best one, which was even more, had more features than this one. So this one was virtually, it was like something was walking like this, Then when I looked back, there was actually wombat prints there, and the wombat prints, they had the bottom of the heel was rounded like this, and it didn't have the impressions like that. So yeah, this one only had like 4 fingers on. This one only had the 4 fingers. It didn't have 5. Yeah, we can see that. That print's pretty good there, Adam. Yeah. So I'm just trying to dismiss it as being a wombat. That's all. So
it doesn't look like a wombat. Not really. It's way too wide. Looks more humanoid than
yeah.
Than wombat.
Rusty thinks he's telling me to message some people that are really good with primates, like in Australia, like any people that are in the museums, and say, look, I've got this cast. What's this? Is this similar to a primate? And see what they say or anything. But yeah, that's.
Yeah, you don't tell them where you found it first. You don't want to.
I want to tell them where I found it, but yeah, I'm just trying to get the angle so you guys can see it. It's a bit. If I go like that, you can't see nothing. It's pretty hard. So I'm just trying to get the
definition.
And then
it's got long fingers. It's got.
The fingers are probably only. Well, I could only get as much as the print in the mud. So this one here, there was more to the finger. I just didn't. I was virtually under a rock ledge, hanging over water, and I was crouched down, and I did a pretty good job getting that. I wasn't like I was standing there just pouring it in. I had to, and it was a real pain in the ass to get to where I had to go. I wish I got the other one. I wish I was like, I just went up, got some plaster from a Bunnings and come back down, because it was a way better print than this one. But this one's still pretty good. And when I look at the wombat ones, like you can see the different parts, like here on your hand, or here, and then you got that gap here that's similar to here. And when you look at some of the apes, they got that gap there so they can grab branches and stuff. So I don't know. I'm just trying to. Some people are saying it's wombat double step. Other people are saying no, that's pretty.
I think it's way too wide.
Yeah, and I measured the wombat print, the full wombat print. It didn't look nothing like this, and there was two prints, one in front of the other. They both looked different. I got the photo of it, and they didn't even measure this long. The wombat print was like 3 inches by about 2 inches wide. It was only like that long by about that wide, and this thing here is like this wide by like that long, you know. And yeah, so this is about 3 inches wide by about 6 inches long, and then you can see my hand next to it. So it's nearly, you know, just as long as my hand. So yeah, I don't know if it's a double step. What does the back foot of a wombat look like anyway? Because if that's a double step, that's going to be the back. That's going to be the back foot here. So what does the back foot look like? And when I look at the back foot, it looked like it, you know, had like a.
And it shows you a double step here as well. Okay, that's the this is the front one. That one's the front. Okay, that's the back one. And if you look here, you can see what a double step looks like.
Well, that's showing you, like, if that's a double step, and this part here is way different to that.
And here's another one the other way.
Well, there's nothing here that's got any type of toes other than the thumb. There's nothing here to show you there's any type of toes. Because look, if that's the front of the foot, there's nothing here. There should be something here. There should be an impression of like 3 or 4 toes like that. Should be something still visible there, but it's clearly, you know, an indentation right here.
I think it's highly unlikely that it's a double one, because look at that, they just don't look.
And yeah, and where I got this is virtually where I filmed the real big one. That was, we measured like about at least 10 foot, and I've got sound recordings there, and I've actually got sound recordings of something running through the bush. This is all back in 2013. I haven't really done too much there lately because a big fire went through. It's just burned all that area. There's nothing there. It's dead as Fred. I walked through there at night. Darren and myself, we did like 15 kilometers walking all the way around there. Got nothing, heard nothing. I've gone there through a few times, set trail cameras up, sound recorders, got nothing other than normal animals. Yeah, I got sound recordings of something running through that area where I filmed the big one. The ledge to go down to the creek, you could probably looking at at least 7 foot, 8 foot. So you hear it running, then you hear about a 3-second delay where it's jumped off, landed on the creek bed, and then it's walked through the cold water, and it was like -3 or -4 degrees. And it walked through the water. You can hear the water gurgling around its legs and feet going through the water, because the water's probably only ankle deep there when it doesn't rain, and it hasn't rained. Wasn't raining then. It was just freezing cold. It's gone through the creek bed across the other side, and it's gone. So I had the small Junjuddy sighting there. I filmed the big one in the background, which I didn't even know it was there, and I've had sound recordings, and then I've got this print. So
just so people know what I was looking at to reference the prints. This is a field guide. It's called Tracks, Scats and Other Traces. It's a field guide to Australian mammals by Barbara Triggs. So there it is.
I might have to get that one. I think it was in like one of the bookshops, and I was going to get it, and I didn't buy it for some reason, but I'm going to have to get it.
It's got, you know, lots of scats. It shows you all the scats and the different prints from all the different. It's really good to rule out marsupials and stuff when we're casting prints. So
yeah. So
the only criticism is she measures a lot of stuff, but not the prints. And I'm like, you know, you need to, if you're gonna go the trouble of photographing the prints, measure them, like show how big these animals are, the prints, so you can more easily identify them. But
so one thing about this one, I found this in like really soft soil that was wet on the creek bed, and if it had claws, I think the claws would be pretty much,
they'll be visible.
You'd get something. And when I took a photo of the one when I went into them, we were at the old Ford Reserve, which had sightings there before. So when you go, just walk out where all the people, the main little campground there, you just walk down the trail. It was like 100 meters, 50 meters, something like that from where they were. There's a creek going through there, and when this wombat's put its foot down there, you could see the claws on each end.
They're not retractable. It's not a feline.
Yeah, when I got this print, even when I looked at it, it didn't even have. I took photos of it before I did this, and there wasn't even a mark.
Not a single claw, nothing.
Claw. So if it's in soft sand, a soft dirt that was wet, and it's put its foot down, there should be that little part on here where there's a claw, and there's none. And it actually looks like, these things are, I don't know. If I put my hand down like that in the same thing, I'd give the same impression as that, but this is just a bit more elongated. So, this is the part that really intrigues me is here. It just,
Well, we found a den up in Sassafras last time we went. So that was pretty cool.
I was a bit unhappy because the trail camera there, when I set it up, it took 4 or 5 photos. I went, all right, cool, it's all set up properly. Closed it again. Didn't take another photo, but I set it to take a photo every 10 seconds.
And you tested it?
Yeah, I tested it. The other one, but what I did when we went back there the next day, it wasn't working. So I just did the same thing I did. Closed it. It took like 100 photos in a short period of time, and I'm like, maybe there was a battery out of place or something. I don't know. So I wasn't happy, but we really didn't get anything that night. It was pretty dead. The area
was pretty quiet anyway. Yeah.
It was quiet. That was we had those 2 knocks. Me and Roger heard them going down the Wiggins Trail. Something just gone whack, whack, really hard.
Yeah.
Both me and Roger went, whoa, what's that? And that's about all we had, other than during the night I heard a big whack across the creek where I put the trail camera. That's why I put it there. Other than that, we were having, like the first couple of times we went there, we had things running down the hill, even Greg, Roger and Scott had sound recordings of something coming down and walking around into the water. And then they put the camera on, they put the torch on there, and they couldn't see anything. And I'm like, where is it? We can hear it moving around, but where is it? It was like a
started growling.
Yeah, they had a bit of a noise, and then Simon, Greg, and Scott went back to their campground because the trail there is Victory. One's called Victoria, and it's like you come down, you either go to the Victoria or keep staying on the Victory Trail. So they went to the right and camped up near Falconbridge, and we kept going straight to our campground that we've been going on. And Simon said he had something sniffing up near his tent at night, and then the boys reckon they could hear things running around. So, we didn't really get much that night. So I was like, we should have went up there with them. So they looked like they had a bit of action. So, but I've been talking to Roger, and I've said to him, we might have to go down there and just check another area way off the trail if we can possibly get there with like the lightest possible gear that we've got, and try and find another area where they might be just around the corner and they're not coming up to the main trail because they know where people are going to be there. But,
like that place you and I scoped out.
Yeah, it's just that if we get there, we're going to have to take machete to chop them vines, because there's no way you're going to get through. In your backpack's going to get shredded with them vines. There's too many little hooks and little barbs on them. So so you can get there. It's just that you can't be taking a backpack weighing 30 kilos in there. If you're going to do that, you're going to
need to be in good shape.
Yeah, you need to be in good shape. Yeah, Josh, we went to the area where we camped at Sassafras, and I said, there's a nice area down further, off the trail of maybe, what do you reckon, Adam? 500-600 meters, maybe more, 800.
Yeah, it's probably closer to 800, almost a K. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, and it took us 45-50 minutes to get there.
Wow.
There's no trail, and there's these little vines, and they've got those little barbs on them, and they just cling to you, and you're just pulling them out of your shirts. Like, though, if you got a backpack, you're going to get caught. You're going to have to take.
We had no backpacks, and it was an extreme effort to get there with no packs.
We come back, and we were just all sweaty, and even though it wasn't that hot, it was like, gee, I don't think we're going to get in here, because you need a machete, and you need to chop these vines out of the way to get.
Really?
Found a pruning saw there, which was strange that you found a pruning saw way up there. I was like,
yeah. So it was a bit of a mission. Like, we got down there, we hiked in during the night, like we've done previously, to go to this campsite, and then we're going to go the next day to the other campsite and make one up there, and just looked like a good area. But when we went there and had a look, no, it was just a bit too hard for the amount of weight we had, and we just decided to stay where we were. But we thought we'd get a bit more action. I borrowed Simon's thermal. I forgot that you got to press the button on the top to get the Wi-Fi working, so you can videotape with your phone. I've never used it before, Adam, so I forgot about that. It's the only thing I forgot about. We're trying to get it so it links to our phone to record, but there was nothing there anyway. I used it. I think the only thing I picked up on the thermal was the trail camera on the tree. That was the only thing that was hot. Everything, there was nothing. There was no animals. There was no birds in the trees, nothing. It was just dead.
It was so dark that with our lights off, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. You couldn't see anything. Nothing. And it was really, really spooky. I mean, you know, a Yowie could be 6 feet away from you and you wouldn't know it. It was really, really brutal. Josh, have you heard the howls that we recorded at Marramara?
Yes, I have. In fact, I'm incredibly jealous that I wasn't even there. I don't get jealous of many things, but yeah, when I heard those howls and even the fact that you were there, I was certainly jealous. Yeah, that's why I wanted.
It was a highlight of our Yowie researching career, I tell you.
I bet it was, and that's another reason why I want to get to the eastern states. The things I'm capturing here, to me, it's just not enough. I need more, and I feel like I could definitely get that. One of the places I want to go to is Jenolan Caves, the area behind Jenolan Caves, where there's been a couple of sightings in recent years. I sort of think that's a bit of a spot where I'd like to go alone or with someone else. I don't mind go hiking into the bush alone. I've done it during the day and at night, both here in WA and over east, and it doesn't bother me.
Well, that may be the case until you start having close encounters with these big ones here, and then you don't go back in alone anymore. None of us do. We after the howls and the wood knocks and the growls. Daniel and I, our first time together going up in the Wattagans, I'd been up there on my own before.
Yeah.
Almost got stuck and everything on a 4-wheel drive track in a 2-wheel drive vehicle, which I'm not doing again. But Daniel and I went up there, and in the middle of the day, away from the camp area, we were going down to like a creek at the bottom, and Dan went halfway down, and he heard something coming towards him, and we were communicating via radio.
Something growled at me like the Tasmanian tiger kind of on the cartoon, you know, does a. I'm like, what's that? You know, and then I said to Adam, something's growled at me, but I had my camera, but my camera's not really that good at picking up any noises. Like, it wasn't a loud growl. It was just like this small kind of guttural.
A short one, like.
And it was in this. There was like all these vines there, but they're not there when we went there the next time. Like maybe I don't know how long later. And I go, Adam, something's just growled at me. And I've got it on video footage. You can hear me go, Adam, something's growled at me. He's going, what?
I'm like, you sure? I'm like, you sure?
He's talking to an idiot. I'm going, something growled at me, man. Because he's like probably, I don't know, 100 meters up. And I'm virtually
probably. And you said it's heading to me. You go, it's heading to you. It's heading to you.
Yeah, and, but I couldn't see it. I could hear it, but I couldn't see it. Even though it wasn't that clear. But if something was running and it was a decent size, you'd see the bush moving. I couldn't see nothing moving. I'm like, it's coming up. And Adam's like, yeah, whatever.
And I'm sitting there near the edge of this where the bush, the undergrowth, there's no undergrowth. It's just dry leaves everywhere. Dry leaves everywhere. I mean, it was like crunch, crunch, crunch. There's no way anyone could hide anything. No one's sneaking anywhere. And there was virtually no undergrowth. And I'm there with the sound dish, and he goes, "It's coming to you," and I could hear it. I could hear its footsteps, and I saw the footsteps in the leaves, but I couldn't see it. And I took the guys there and I showed them, and I went after it. And Dan came up. He came up, and I went after it, and it took me towards where some people were camping on a fire trail.
But when you chased it, Adam, when I was looking up, I could hear something going from my left to the right, and then I could hear something running after it. So it ran first, and then I could hear you running after it. So I knew you were chasing it.
Yeah, and I stopped up near that campsite, and it circled back around. It hooked around, and that's where
right around, because I could
did a huge arc, and then that's when Dan saw it. He saw it in the middle of the afternoon in the bright sunshine, clear as day. Saw how you only saw like from probably the waist up or something, right?
Yeah, sort of from about the probably just
the upper torso, yeah.
Probably just around its belly button up, but I could see its arms swinging, and it just had its head down. But it was like, you know how fast the Olympic walkers go? It was going like that quick. It wasn't running, it was walking, and it had its head down, and it was pitch black, like full black hair, and it was probably about 6 foot, and it like you got big gum trees, so I saw like every second stride through the gum trees, and then it was gone. So I'm going, "Adam, it's back here." I actually said, "Adam, I saw its head." That's all I could say, because I'm like, "Oh wow." And then Adam goes, "Oh, shut up." He goes, "Shh." I'm going, "All right." And he's going, "Oh, I'm near someone's campsite. I don't want him to let them know that I'm here." And I'm like, "It's over here, Adam." He's like, "What?" I'm going, "It's over here. I just seen it run into the bush."
Yeah, he said, I saw a head.
I saw a head. I'm just saying I saw a head. That's all I'm saying. I saw a head. Anyway, Adam comes over, coming over, and I can hear him. He was pretty far away. I could hear him coming over. He goes, "Well," I said, "it's down there." So it must have been just hanging in the bush a little bit to see if we're going to go or not. And then Adam goes, "Oh, I'll go after it." And he goes, I can hear it. Next minute, Adam just disappears in his bush.
I got stuck in the vines, and it was like leaves up to my waist, and it was just it was impassable. I was trapped.
So yeah, you were trapped. You got
and when I was stuck there, this rock or like a little rock or something just comes flying through the air right at me. Like
the microphone and chucking rocks at me. I'm like, okay. So anyway, we've gone back to the camp, because the reason why we went there, because I'm going, "Adam, it's too dry up here. We've got to get down where the water is. So we've got to get down there. That's where it can eat things." So anyway, that's where we got it. So we've gone back to the campsite. So we've taken 15 minutes to get back. We said, "We'll come back at night time." So we've had something to eat. We're sitting down having a chat, whatever. I said, "All right." So we got all our gear ready, and then my microphone wouldn't work, and I chucked a bit of a dummy spit, and Adam's got
a wobbly. I got a recording of that.
Yeah, I'm like, Adam's going, "Don't worry about it." I'm going, "No, I'm not bringing all this gear up here if I can't use it." I'm like, they end up changing. It worked, but then
I had a spare cord.
The cord didn't want to work from the microphone to the sound recorder, so we changed it over. And since then, I've changed the cord, so everything's good. No more wobblies. Anyway, we've ended up going up, and it was really windy. Where the campsite was, it wasn't windy, but when we got it back up to the ridge where there's like a 4-wheel drive trail, it's really windy. And we're like, "Oh man, we can't." I've only got my night vision. We haven't got the thermal, and we've got the sound recorders, but the wind was killing it. Yeah, so we hung around for a while, but then we're looking down where we saw it, but from behind us, something just come flying up through the bush, bang, crash, bang. And it stopped at the edge of the bush line. We couldn't see it. I've got the night vision. I go, "Adam, I can't see nothing." We could not see it.
And we weren't going into the bush. Not when you see like an 8-10 foot yowie in the middle of the daytime. You ain't going in the bush after dark. We stayed on the fire trail. Like
we turned around because it scared the crap out of us. We turned around and we're like, "Oh shit!" And we're like, got our stuff in front of us.
We could hear it, but we couldn't see it, even with the night vision.
Could not see it.
And the bush was so dense.
I had night vision, couldn't see it. Anyway, we went, "All right," and we kind of kept walking around. There was people camping right down the end that Adam saw before. They were already asleep, and it was really windy, and it just killed the night. We couldn't get any sound. We couldn't even hear nothing walking around. It was just.
And during the day, there was no wind.
Yeah, that's it. We went back to the campsite because it was down the ridge and it was in a bit of the valley. It was pretty quiet. But up where we wanted to go, no. So we've gone back again. So it was Adam, you, me. There was Simon, Roger. Was Roger there? Who came? Simon, Heath, you, me.
Roger was there.
And Roger. So it was like 5 of us. We've gone, we camped right where we seen it. We said we're going to drive in there. So it took us like how many goes to find the right spot?
You were up there for an hour and you couldn't find it.
We tried to find it. I had my station wagon, my Ford station wagon going down forward drive trails. It was already scratched and dented. We were chopping trees out of the way so I can get my car around because it was like all these muddy areas. And Adam's already
bigger than the car.
But
I had my forward drive, yeah.
It went everywhere, man. Anyway, Roger come with me, that's right. So we've checked all these different trails, and then we finally went down this other trail and we go, oh, yeah, this is it, because it just looked different. So anyway, we all turned up there.
I pulled out my GPS, and I remembered that I marked it last time when we were there. So I was like, I'll look it up and go to the waypoint, and I'll go, it's straight in here. So I knew which track it was, and you had already been down there.
I know, but it just looked different because it was like much greener. It was more drier when we went,
But we found it. We found the exact spot where we had the daytime sighting of that Yowie, and it growled at both Dan and it growled at me too.
And the only thing wrong with that whole time when we went the second time was people camping in the camp spot. They had a train horn. Like if you go to the station, you hear a train. This buddy's setting off this train horn all night, and they've got
chainsaws and music
and it was just like it was nothing. It was dead. You can hear like the locomotive train when they've got the big horn coming near the crossing. Someone's pumping a train horn off their car.
Wow. Damn.
Oh man. So we went, that's it. Well, that was it. We just got there, sat around, had a few drinks, talked about anything around the fire, and went to sleep. It was just a killed night.
Both Dan and I have photographed and videoed Junjuddy, the little guys.
Yeah,
Dan, and we were both on our own when we did it. Dan was on his own when he videoed the Junjuddy, the little guy, and I was on my own when I videoed a Junjuddy and photographed it.
And do you guys think they're sort of more endemic to the East Coast, or do you think they exist here in WA? I almost never hear of an account of someone coming into contact or seeing a Junjuddy in WA or South Australia, Northern Territory for that matter.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't know.
But it could be they just come down, from the top of Queensland and then just stayed in that side, and the other side was just like, I don't know, the big fellas that were hanging around down the Great Dividing Range didn't let them get over. Just said,
okay.
And then,
but we both saw him. They're both, the one I saw looked very similar to Dan's, but my one I think may have been older. Very soft, leathery grey skin. It looks like it's kind of stretched over the face. It's quite strange.
Looks like it looks like it's had plastic surgery.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
It's
kind of strange. It's the way the skin's stretched over the face. It's and the hair's just like all kind of straw-like.
Yeah, it just looks like to me like someone's got the comb and just flicked it back like that.
Like a comb over, yeah, a bit like a comb over.
Like someone
like
got
it's quite thin.
Probably 2 inches, maybe 3 inches at its longest, but around 2 inches. It was just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I saw mine, but the only thing it was, Josh, when I saw mine was I heard like Aboriginal kind of talk, but it was all I don't know, understand it was all muffled, and I heard like young kids, like 5-year-old kids, and I'm walking on this trail, Red Hens Cave Trail, where there's Aboriginal hand prints from hundreds or 1,000 years ago, and then I'm like, why someone got like 5-year-old kids in the bush here? It's raining, I'm like, what's going on? And I just seen one local that had finished doing his hike, and then when I walked a bit more, I heard like 15-year-old girls, and they were talking Aboriginal talk, but it's just that that, the noise that sounded like young girls. And then I heard like male voices up ahead, like yelling all the way down the valley, like you could hear them echo, and I'm like, must be some Aboriginals here, like I was like, what's going on? I thought they might have had like a special day or something because of the Red Hands Cave. So I'm like, okay, just walking along. Then I heard something parallel me, and it was crashing through the bush, and it didn't really try to mask itself walking. It was just like boom, boom, boom. I'm thinking, it's not a wallaby. I know I've only seen 1 or 2 wallabies, but nah, this thing's like forcing its way through the bush. And I must have went 500 or 600 meters, and then I've stopped at an area where there's all these tea trees, but it's open, and it was already standing there looking at me. And I'm thinking, is that, when the trees get, the bugs in them and they get that big lump on the side of them? I thought it was that. And I'm looking at it going, and it's about 6 meters away, but it's all drizzly rain. It's all fog coming through the valley. And then I went, and then I seen it blink, and then it kind of just moved its head like that, like an inch. And I went, nah, it's not a kangaroo, because its eyes were looking straight at me, and they were black, And it blinked. And when it blinked, I went, nah. And then all the hair started standing up on the back of my head, and I'm like, man, they're 100% real. Now I know I've seen one. And I'm like, bloody hell. And then, well, what it was, when I was trying to shoot it, it was higher than me by about 1 meter. So I had to shoot up. So I actually overshot. So I'm looking meters above it. So I've only got a bit of it next to the tree. You can see like a little round black kind of head, and that's it. It's pretty blurry because it was all foggy and raining, and that was it. And then, yeah, that was it. And then I had it.
This is the Junjari that he filmed.
Yeah, that's keep talking so it comes on the screen, Adam.
Yeah, can you see it now? It looks like a little elf on the side. You can see the right side of his face. This is the chin, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, the hair. That's its ear there. That's it.
That's taken off a video, and that's all I got. That's all it is. And then as soon as it started clearing up, it was gone. It just disappeared. Didn't see it. But all I seen was the head. There was no neck or nothing. It was just like the trees here, and it was just like that. All I seen was like from here up. I just seen the head. That's all I seen.
Wow.
And it was only like, I don't know, 3 foot, 3.5 foot. And it had like little lips, and it was like a blue-grey face, and it had all the hair was kind of like around like this. All the hair was, and then like, yeah, and didn't make any noise other than that, and then gone like that. And then as soon as it cleared up, I got the camera there. I'm like, oh man, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. I got on video, and I've got back. I'm going, oh, you idiot, you're overshooting, because it was like the whole camera. I think I've got it here. I'll show you the camera I use. This is the old camera I use. I'm going to tell people I used the old one. Where is it? I don't know where it is. But it was the old Panasonic one where you open up the flap on the side, and it had digital tape. This is the actual. These are the tapes that it used. This is the tape. So that's what I'm saying. Old digital, the digital tape. So that's what it used. And I don't know where the camera is. I might have put it somewhere.
This is the one that I filmed and photographed.
Sorry about this.
Well, that's one of them. There's another one that Daniel found in my footage. There. This one is quite much clearer. You can see it. This is the eye, left eye, right eye, the hair, the nose, mouth.
Hey, Adam, just unzoom it because it gets a bit blurry when you're zooming in.
Yeah.
It does.
Can you see that a bit better now?
Yeah. When you zoomed in, it will look more like one of those creatures from Fraggle Rock.
Well, it kind of does a little bit. They're quite strange, the Junjari. They're not as. I don't think they look as human as the Yowies do. This is one of the frames from. That's a close up. But let me see if I have the GIF, because I made a GIF of it. Here we go. And if I can, it's not. Oh yeah, here we go. If you can see now, you can see the three frames that I took. I pressed the photo button 3 times when I was filming, and if you look in the middle here, you can see half of its face, and you can see its eye, its nose, and its mouth, and the 3 different expressions on its face. I'm not sure if it was chewing or smiling at me or what, but
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's great.
Adam, you reckon that when we went there and when we was that where you filmed that? Do you reckon the den that we found was the one that you were filming that, or do you reckon there's another one where that one was? Like that tree, when you filmed it, that looks.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, man. You saw the undergrowth had shot up like another 3 feet since I was there, so it was hard to find anything. You saw how thick the bush was.
Yeah.
But obviously we found that den that you found, and it was really difficult to get to. Like we had to squish between this huge rock and this other rocks, get in there, and it was this huge like dugout area underneath the fallen tree. And it looked like a little rock ledge. It looked like a little kitchen, like a little hobbit home.
So we looked at some hairs and everything like that, but I left the trail camera there, and all I got was one wallet.
Yeah. And it didn't work at night. The trail cam, you had a fault with it.
It worked for a bit, and then it stopped working, and it only worked during the day. For some reason, at night it stopped working, but something went wrong with it, and it hasn't worked since. I'm not using it no more. I think I'm going to chuck it out. It hasn't worked. Yeah, so probably been carried too many times in my backpack and banged around a bit probably. So they do take a bit of punishment, but it is a bit old. I think I had it for 10 years, so it was really good. It was good at night, that one. But the ones I got now, they're still good at night. It's just I just got one of them, the one I put where we had the den at Sassafras. I just got to make sure. I think it was the battery issue with that one. So when I
loose battery, you can put some padding, put a little bit of extra foam in the battery casing to keep the batteries in better. Have you had any close encounters, Josh?
Yeah, mate. I've had 2, one in the eastern states and one here in WA. On neither occasion did I feel dread or anything similar to it. And on neither occasion did I get zapped by infrasound or any of those other sort of theories that people talk about. They were just very close encounters where I saw something, and then I think if I had moved 6 feet forwards, backs, or left to right, because of the denseness of the bush, you wouldn't have seen it at all. But yeah, only 2 occasions, and both of them when I was younger. Like nothing from the last sort of 5 years or so, and enough for me to say there's definitely something out there. And yeah, I mean, I get ridiculed a lot because on the back of my 4-wheel drive, I've got Yowies down under in WA, my YouTube channel. So you get a lot of people in the shopping centre either saying, "What's a Yowie?" or "Gee, I bet you catch a lot of Yowies," or you get all sorts of shit people come up with. But I don't really care. It doesn't bother me because I mean I know what I saw and I know what I've seen since. I've seen the evidence stacked up against it to know that there's definitely something out there.
Them people, Josh, that bag you. I get that as well, and people know I'm into Yowies and all that. I take my AYR shirt to my kids' AFL. It's got Yowie Hunters and all that on there. They all bag me, and I'm like, well, I'm doing what I want to do. I know that. Yeah, I've seen it. I said, well, come out with me, and they're like, no, I'm not going out there. I'm like, what are you scared of? Kangaroos? What's going on? Like.
If they don't exist, what do you got to worry about?
It's not Wolf Creek. Like, what's going on?
Not Wolf Creek.
Yeah, but most of them are all unfit. They wouldn't even be. They'd roll down the Wiggins Trail. They would fall down.
But something I do enjoy is occasionally when you're out at a campsite or you're hiking a track and you come across some people and you've got all your gear and I'm photographing and I've got my audio gear and they look at you and they're like, oh, what are you photographing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, and I always say, this is a Yowie habituation site. Even if it's not, I say that it is. And they sort of look at each other or they look at you really strangely. And then they sort of, when you look behind you, you can see them hurrying along like they want to get the hell out of there real fast.
We just say we're filming wildlife or, like birds or marsupials or whatever. We rarely mention Yowies.
Adam, remember?
I do because I sort of get a kick out of it. And quite often I'm on my own as well. I'm not with anybody. So here in WA, when you say something like, oh, it's a known Yowie habituation site, people really freak out about it because they just think things like that don't exist. And that then, that's that's a thing from the eastern states that doesn't exist here. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, it definitely does. You know, I've got.
I didn't even know about the little guys, the Junjuddy. I was looking for Yowies. I was looking for Yowie dens, like where they were sleeping, and I didn't even know about the Junjuddy until I saw one, you know, and filmed it and photographed. I didn't even know. Like I'd read things about the brown jack and stuff, but I didn't. You know, you don't know something exists, or you know, you're not necessarily believe it. I certainly wasn't looking for them.
And when Adam was searching for there around Hazelbrook, I was going there by myself too, as well, walking around there, setting up trail cams and stuff. And you know, we could have been missed each other by 1 week or a couple of days, you know. And then when Dave started the Yowie Hangouts back in 2010 or 2011, and that's when me and Adam kind of got to know each other, talking, you know, and that's when we went out to Woodford and first met up, and we had a Yowie night. We thought we found a footprint and stuff.
And that's when we had the rock clacks just before you were going to pick up your sound recorder, and like 60 seconds before you arrived, clack clack.
I've actually got the footage somewhere here where I'm actually walking in and I'm filming as I'm walking in. So it's got me walking all the way, because what happened was I set trail camera up, I only had the one, and I had a sound recorder, and I put it near, like this little creek was going near to the major creek, so it was only trickling along. So we went there, and we didn't have bad weather, but as it got near night time, it started raining. So I had a tarp, and this is when Adam showed his first skills of being the nickname MacGyver. He walks into the bush and comes out and goes, "Hey, I found 4 sticks. And they're all the same height. How lucky is that?" And I'm like, "What?" And then we put like the string on everything, and he goes, "Oh, you got some tent pegs?" Bang, bang, bang. Next minute, we got this, you know, tarp up. We're all sitting underneath there, drinking some beers and that, talking about things, and everyone else went to sleep. Other than me and Adam stayed up to about 2:30. We can hear like tree branches crack, crack,
crack, crack, crack all night. It was just crack, crack, crack. We're like, couldn't believe it, and everyone else went to bed.
So anyway, I woke up, like, I don't sleep in when I camp. As soon as the birds get up, it's 5:30 in the morning, I'm up. Just to see what's going on during the night, if I can find something. So I said, all right, we're not going to be doing anything else. Everyone's going to go because it's Sunday.
And it was really wet. Like
I was drowned.
Everything.
I just took like dirty clothes that I had, and by the time I walked from where we camped at Woodford down to the creek, it took half an hour to get there. So it was an hour turnaround to get there and back. It's drizzling rain. No one is there. So I go down.
Nobody walking the trail. Everyone was still in the camp area.
I've got my little camera. This is me. I've got to update it soon, but that's all I got, my Lumex camera. So I'm walking in and I'm going along and I can see a platypus kind of bubbling. I'm like, oh, there's a platypus. I'm like, all right, we're getting near where I've got to go, where I've set my gear up. So I'm walking in. I've actually videotaping, so you know that I'm not clicking the thing. I come in, walk in and say, oh, yeah. And then on the sound recorder, you can hear me gradually. You can hear me talking, gradually getting louder and louder as I'm walking in. And I've got the video footage as well to back up that wasn't me to hit the rock clack. So I've come in. You can hear me come in on the sound recording. You can hear me talking about things. And then, you know, I've got my sound recorder, you know, blah, 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 whatever I'm talking about for my video. Plus, that same recording is on the sound recorder. I come in. I get the trail cam. I get turn off the sound recorder. You hear me come up, turn it off. And all I do is go put it in my backpack and then take off because it's drizzling rain and I'm wet. And I just want to get back, get changed, you know.
He didn't even know that there was any rock clack at the time.
Yeah. So when I walked in, probably just before you start hearing me talk, you can just hear two, like, you know, like the white pebbles, you know, like good river stones just go clack, clack. And I'm
right.
Okay? And then I've just gone through all my stuff. I said, there's no photos. Got onto WavePad with the sound recordings, looked at it, and went, boom, boom, and I went, what the hell? And I've worked out it was about 30 seconds before I got there that it happened. Clack, clack. So we want to go back there. So we're kind of going to call it glamping because you can drive in and take all your gear. So we're going to glamp when we go there.
We can car camp.
We can car camp, yeah. So we can glamp. We can take all the mod cons. We can take the kitchen sink or whatever. And we're going to go back because it's easy to get to. You can drive in and it's open all year.
Even when it's raining in a two-wheel drive vehicle, which is unusual for that kind of area.
The only thing is where you camp, to where down where we got the rock clack, it's a half an hour hike in. It's not hard. It's just, you know.
Well, some people did struggle last time, man.
Yeah, I know. But
not you and I. But
I ran when we found that footprint. I ran all the way back to the campsite and ran all the way back with the plaster. And you go, oh no, it's only a kid's footprint. It's not a Junjuddy. I'm like, oh come on, you run a marathon, and then you say it's not. So I think we cast it anyway. But then
we cast it anyway. But it, you know, when you cast it, you can see all an increase in the detail and everything. So you can get a much better understanding of what it is when you cast it.
Because we're kind of thinking, why is there like a kid walking around with no shoes on down here, you know, with all the spiders and snakes and everything. But anyway, some kid must have been down there.
It was just a human print, but you know, it was it
was a bit of a surprise, but that was all right. But
at least with us, not everything's a bloody Yowie. You know, not every print's a Yowie, not every tree break's a Yowie, not every piece of tree bite or anything. You know, we first thing we do, we're most critical of everything that we find. You know,
you got to be, because if you start saying every single little thing you find is a Yowie, people are just not going to take you seriously. Like when we got those howls, like I'll tell you a bit of the history about it, Josh. We went there, me and Roger, and we went there, and for some reason, I can't remember if it was a full moon or not, but for some reason, all the fish were jumping out of the water. All the foxes were making noises like constantly. We've got sound recordings of a tree getting stripped apart. We've got wood knocks. We've got like little kind of vocals, like things like that. Just different things happening all night. It was just like, we're like, oh, wow, this place is like, really, it's going off.
Active.
Yeah, it's active. It's going off. So anyway, I said to Adam, you got to come down, because Adam says, I can't make it. So anyway, 2 weeks later, Adam goes, let's go. So my wife, Adam, and myself went down there. So we got down there, and it's as quiet as.
No one else there. No one.
There's no one else there other than Kurt and his.
They turned up later.
They turned up later, and they camped like 100 meters away from us. And he wanted to do some fishing, because his mate goes, oh, you can catch fish there because it's salt water comes in, It's a tidal creek. So he goes in as a fisherman, like, oh, man, trust us to go here. There's only one person comes, he's a fisherman, and we want to use our sound recorders. So anyway, he went. So we sat down there, pointing to the other side. I've got a trail camera on the other side and a sound recorder there, and we've got the other sound recorder on the parabolic dish. So we're there.
We've got 2 parabolic dishes, sound recorder across the creek.
And we've got night vision and that. So
with night vision and everything.
But there was nothing. It was pretty quiet. I'm like,
it was dead. There was nothing. All evening, nothing. Not a tree break, not a whoop, nothing. No.
To eat. And sat around the fire, had a chat about things and all that. And it gets to like 11:15. I remember looking at my phone and went, it's 11:15. I'm going to go.
I was literally opening my tent to start getting organised to get to bed. And that's when the how started.
And we just looked at each other. And it was like this thing. It was like this thing that was just up like this. And I'll tell you now, out of the 35-40 minutes that went on and off, the howl was usually up and down, like 3 howls together, and it didn't waver. It had enough air in its chest to keep pumping that noise out strong. It never went ooh at the end. It was just like the same thing. It was really strong. And we're looking at each other going, shit, get the parabolic dishes. And I've got mine already there. I just had to turn my sound recorder on. I had it on. There's like a little bench there. There's like a picnic table where they've put there, and there's a toilet block. So Adam's going, I've got to get mine all set up. So he's trying to reset it up because he's kind of packing it away because So we're standing there with the sound recorder of this.
Anyway, it's that last white noise.
Freaking out. Yeah, that's it.
Play it again.
Play it again, Sam.
Over the creek. I think the first one he's in, right?
And then what happened was, after it started maybe 150, 200 meters away from us across the creek, and then it kept going. It was like it was calling out, "Where are you? Where's all my mates? Where's all my family?" You know, and it went away. And then like it was starting to get where you couldn't hear it as good as the first one. But anyway, we started hearing noises in the bush. It's come across the creek, and even by that time, Kurt had got out, started this massive fire. I think he had a bit of lighter fluid or something. He's put it on there. Started this massive fire in front of his tent.
Because they were crapping themselves.
Yeah, he said he's been like camping in the bush and everything. He's from the country now. It says, I've never heard anything like that. He goes, my missus was freaking, and she said, "Is that a Yowie?" And then so he put the torch and he starts pointing it in the bush, and we're like, yeah, we can hear something walking around in there.
And he was checking to see that all three of us were at our camp to make sure one of us wasn't in the bush, like messing with him.
Anyway, the next day after it's all settled down, he's come through, and he just come through to have a look at them. We go, "Hey, how you going, mate? How did you like that howl last night?" He's like, "Oh man, it scared the shit out of me and my missus. She was crying." And then we started going, we kind of said, "This is what we're here for." And we showed all our gear, and they're like, "Oh, I'll go get my missus." And they come over, and we started talking, and he's like, "Oh, can I join your group? I'm interested in Yowies." So he wants to come out next time we go out. So I said, "Yeah, I'll let you know, no worries, but we just haven't got anything planned. It's people, we've got to work around work and everything like that." But yeah, him and his missus were like, so he was, I think a month or two ago, the Marramara, because I did the very first issue, I wrote about the Marramara howl. So I got him to write about what he thought. I said, don't say anything about us being there. We just want to hear your thoughts and how you guys felt and what you heard, And he goes, "Yeah, no worries." Yeah, what they.
And you put it in the Yowie Times. The
Yowie Times. That was from him. So him and his wife,
Because on the way out, the next morning on the way out, I was checking for cutting for sign, and I found all this grass pushed down and wet, muddy footprints in the long grass.
Footprints.
And on the trail as well. It had crossed the river and the creek, and it put all these muddy footprints everywhere. And there was no one else down there. And there's no way you're hiking into this joint at night, not unless you're stupid.
It's up and down a fire trail, and it goes like this.
So extreme.
3.5 km. Yeah, it's not easy. You can easily slip over. It's all rocks and that. Like in the daytime, you've got to walk down like really careful, even with good boots, because the rocks are all slippery. It's all like loose sand.
Start walking on ball bearings.
Yeah, the last one, it kind of goes down for about 500 meters, and it kind of just goes like this all the way down. And then when you get to the bottom, you go to the left, and then it's flat, and it's about 1 kilometer to get to the campsite. And it's a really nice campsite. It's really good. It's just a bit of a pain to get in and out. So
because it's got a privy and everything.
Yeah. So we want to go back there again. It's just to give time to get.
It's got a long drop, a short drop rather.
Everyone to get there. So, it's that was a bit of a highlight, I reckon. I know I've got videos and stuff and sound recordings, but that howl.
That made up for when Dan and I were at the Wattigans, and we had the daylight sighting, and it growled at Dan, and then it growled at me. We had our sound dishes, but we didn't have recorders. We had recorders, but we didn't have them hooked up to the sound dishes. After what happened at the Wattigans, when it growled at Dan and then growled at me, after that we permanently hooked up our sound recorders and we strapped them to the side of the parabolic dishes. So now, every time the parabolic dishes are on, they're recording sound the entire time. So we made that. Otherwise, we would have had the growl recorded of the Yowie from the daytime sighting. So that was we learned a lesson from that.
Yeah, definitely. Wow, that's cool. Well,
but that howl was spooky, man. It was really dark, no moon, nothing, and Dan's missus was crapping herself too. She's stoking up the fire behind us, and she's telling me to get my saw. I had a Barco Laplander saw as a weapon, and we're Dan and I are there with the sound parabolics, just going shh, shh, shh. We're trying to record this. This is like the highlight. This is what we're here for, because I don't think she believed that they existed. She thought it was all kind of a joke or whatever.
Yeah, and then she refuses to go back. I said, "Come on, we're going to Marramara She goes, no, I'm not going there, babe. I'm not going. No. I'm like, doesn't matter how much you pay me. I'm not going. I'm like, okay, good.
That's fine.
Wow.
But yeah, we've been there twice, and we've had stuff happen twice. So
That's a pretty good hit ratio.
yeah, been there twice. So the only other place I've had really, really good things happen was near Mount Solitary. Like I went there with one of my boys. I got twin boys. I went there with one of the boys when he was 11. So they're 17 this year, so 6 years ago. And had one come over. We got there. It's like the second last campsite. It was the one before, where we went out of the film, the Yowie, video. It was the first one that the people were at. So I went there because it was only me and my son. So I thought we'll stop here.
You mean the doco where you showed us where you camped with your son?
And then we went to the next campsite because it was bigger for everyone. And went there. It was about probably 26 degrees, 25 degrees. It was in October, so I don't think it was daylight saving. I think the sun went down right like 5:30, 6 o'clock. We got there like about 5, set up camp, just dug a bit of the ash out, got some firewood, chopped it up, got it ready. My son was cooking marshmallows. I just went into the tent and got, the wet wipes because it was all sweaty to change my clothes. And then Christopher, who my son, says, Dad, there's something walking bipedally through the bush because we
bipedally.
we're watching we're watching all these Destination Truth and Monster Quest and everything, all these Bigfoot shows. And he's like, I always talk about bipedal.
Got the right language.
Oh, Dad, something walking bipedally through the bush. I'm like, what? And then I go, oh shit, there's something there because it was dark by then. And it's 2.5 hours from where you come in, from the nearest where we come in from the Golden Staircase.
That's down the Golden Staircase, past the ruined castle.
And then,
as you're starting to head up to Mount Solitary, it's about halfway up.
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours to get there. So, so we're sitting there, and I went, I got out of the tent, and I go, oh yeah, I can see something. And it was about 30 meters away. Come over where the trail comes up. It comes up over this ridge, and it comes behind these bushy trees. They were actually much bushier back then than what they are now. They're getting taller and they're getting thinner. But when they were shorter, it was really bushy. And I'm going, there's something black. You can see this black figure, its head and that. It's just standing there kind of with its arms down. It's just still. I'm like, what's this? And I'm like, looking. I'm like, I get the torch out. And as soon as I pop the torch on it, it's just like, it's got the trees and it's shaking the trees. It's like, whoa! Like this weird howl. And then it's just gone bang straight down this ridge that's like 45 degrees. It's got these little trees.
In the middle of the night.
6 o'clock. It's got these bushes that rip the crap out of it. Even if you walk down them, you've got to wear like thick, long pants because I've put sound recorders in that there after that. And it's fallen trees and logs and it's just, it's steep as and it's just shot down. And we're listening. I'm like, oh, shit,
This is back before you had sound recorders or 1,000 lumen torches and stuff like that.
So. Like the early days of my kind of like, this is the early days of me before I knew about all this other stuff.
No night vision or anything.
Wish I did. Anyway, I still had that. This is when I first bought this camera, but I still had the digital one and the digital tape one. And I thought, this one's going to get a better picture than this Lumex one, which I was wrong. So anyway, I thought, I haven't got it. It's gone. It's gone down there. And my son goes, is that a Yowie, Dad? I'm like, I didn't want to spook him because it was about 6 foot tall, this thing, maybe 5'5", 5'6", maybe not that tall, 6 foot. Anyway, I went, no, it's just a wallaby. It's just a wallaby. So anyway, 45 minutes later, it's come over exactly the same ridge, come down and went straight behind them bushes. And we were both sitting there and I had all my stuff there and I had the camera. So I've pulled the camera out and I'm videotaping as I'm walking down this trail that leads you, if you keep following it, you go to Mount Solitary, and I've got the little torch and I've pumped the torch on it and I've got it on film, like full on got on film, but it double exposed with a previous recording and you just can't make nothing out of it. I've looked and I went, no, this is fucked. So anyway, if I use this one, mate, I had the video of a Yowie, I swear, 100%, not lying. And this thing's just gone freaking bang, it's run faster than Usain Bolt and you can hear it hurdling trees. You can hear it. And then nothing, and all of a sudden, so you can hear it jumping over the trees, going down, and for about 45 seconds, you could hear it. I'm going, gee, it's really going now.
Have to have legs of steel.
And it was gone anyway. So I was I had the World War II machete, so I've kind of had one hand on the machete, and one hand cooking the food, you know, because all the smell was wafting like bacon and eggs and that, so it's brought it in. And I went, gee, this is the good area to go to. So that's where we filmed the Yowie, a part of the Yowie doco we did. And
have you seen that, Josh?
I don't think I have. When I get off the live, I'll definitely go and have a look at it.
We have to give it the link and the password.
Yeah. So we actually got a wood knock reply in from the Jamison Valley, which is where the Three Sisters look south, and the Jamison Valley's all in there.
Yeah.
And the only thing was, the camera guy, Gavin, really didn't believe. He's like, no, I'm not really believing this. Because I said, look, there's no trails in there. No one is in there. There's no campers in there. You just can't. You can get in there, but it's going to be a bloody hard hike to get in there.
Bushwhacking.
Yeah, because you've got to go down the ridge and all that, and you might probably full of snakes and whatever. So anyway, it was me. I was Scott there. I said, Scott, do a couple of wood knocks. Me, Adam, Gavin, and Greg's on the other side. Scott's mate. He said, oh, Samuel, who had the sound full on
the boom mic,
the boom, so he could pick up everything. You just got to point it, and so he goes, come over here, there's noise over here. So Samuel went over there. So I really should have waited, but I said, do a wood knock. I'm thinking we're not going to get anything. So Scotty does 2 wood knocks. I said, wait 30, 40 seconds, nothing. I said, just give it one more go. So he's bang, bang. But his first wood knocks, nothing echoed through the valley. Nothing echoed and come back. It just went and gone. Second one, whack, whack. Within, I don't know, 4 or 5 seconds, bang, a reply. And even Gavin's gone. The cameraman, he's going, was that a reply? Was that something hit? I said, yeah, you heard what we heard. Something's replied. And Scotty's eyes opened up, like looking back, like, wow, we got a wood knock reply. And I'm like, shit, I didn't think we are going to get one. I go, oh, Samuel's over there. And he's like, what? I go,
the sound guy was facing the other direction down the other valley.
So we never got, otherwise that would have been on the actual thing. But that was about all we got that night. It drizzled rain a bit. There was probably a few too many people. Actually, a lot of people walked past us, man, didn't they?
There was about at least 50 people. It was ridiculous.
Big group of uni students. And I said, was it your birthday?
Yeah, I said, it was my 40th birthday.
Happy birthday to Adam, saying she's going up there. Who's Adam?
He got some blonde Sheila to say happy birthday to me.
Adam's like, what? So, because I stayed down there with all, because there was a lot of money worth of gear sitting in the tents. If I went up there, someone could have went through and pinched all our gear. I'm not saying anyone would, but I didn't want to take the chance. I've been up Mount Solitary a few times, so all the boys went up there and did a bit of filming and took a few photos and all that. And it wasn't that far to get up to the first. I said, just keep going up until you go through to these 2 big rocks. And then
it was real hard getting the cameraman and the sound guy up there with the huge big camera, and he's got one of these big hook rigs.
Yeah,
it was a real mission getting them up and down there.
So it was, we had a good time and had a bit of a joke about things, and we had a good time going in there. And I just wish we got more than, and I just wish Samuel got that wood knock on the sound recording.
Mate, if they were with us at Marramara with that howl.
Oh yeah, and I said to Gavin, what do you feel like now after the wood knock? And he said, I'm on the fence now. I'm like, these things could be true. You could be right. I'm not saying they are there, but I'm not saying they're not there. But before I said no, now I'm kind of like, they could be there. So we turned someone to thinking, there could be something there. Because I said, look, you look on Google Maps and whatever, there's no trails there. There's a trail right on the other side. I said, but that would not only come from 300 meters away, maybe maximum.
They closed that trail anyway because of the landslide.
No. The one going from like Kadumba all the way up to.
Okay. I was talking about the cliff one, the one that goes along the cliff. They closed it for the landslide.
No, that's open.
Yeah?
It's open. Yeah, they just made another trail around through there. Yeah, that's all settled. There's all trees growing in there now. It's still not as sick as the other areas, but there's all trees and bushes in there now. And you can see the trail going around the landslide.
Because we want to actually go into Jamison Valley, down where we got that return, the response wood knock, and camp in there, do bushwhacking, hiking, away from the trails and everything.
We've got to go and do a bit of a reconnaissance and check out when we've got nothing on our back. You know, just
Yeah,
walk.
yeah, with no pack
Little-
first.
Little
Scout
backpack,
it,
Mars bars or
a
something.
day
Just
pack. Yeah.
a day pack, go in and come back. But I want to do that. But we want to do this. We want to do that. It's just time, you know.
Because we do a lot of planning for our trips. You know, we're studying maps and campsites and you know, weather and everything. You know, everything has to kind of work out good, because some of the areas that we go to, you know, it can take between 2 and 4 hours to get in there.
Very.
You know, and it's extreme, you know, effort to hike in and out. Like Perry's Look Down, that was just the most brutal thing ever, mate.
I've never suffered cramps in my life.
All of us.
I coming out walking like the Tin Man after someone poured water over him. He's all rusty, mate. I couldn't even walk.
He couldn't get off the forklift.
Everyone that went, like, said, like, I could get on a forklift, but it took me 15 minutes to get off it. I was that sore. Garrett was the same way. Sean is like
Really?
Sean's like a security guy. He has to do like rounds and walk around. He said he couldn't walk. He had to take like the little buggy and drive around because he couldn't.
We're walking worse than Steady Eddie. It was really. I'm trying to walk down my front steps, and I'm like you know, episode of The Walking Dead. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. We worked really hard, and we get down there. Adam suffers the migraine, so he's gone. Doesn't even do anything. Just
Yeah, I took a bunch of pills, and that's it. I couldn't, because I thought to myself, if I don't get rid of this, I'm not getting out in the morning, because it's the incline and that trek and I had weight. We all had too much weight, way too much. I had like 35 kilos. Dan had about 45, 50.
Wow. Oh,
You
my
know,
God.
we had enormous weight, and it was ridiculous. We all took too much weight. We're not going to make that stupid mistake
and
again.
then when we get down there, there's everyone that lives in the Blue Mountains is virtually camped there. There's like
tons of people.
I'm going, like, the reason why we went there, Josh, because I went down there in 2015, I think it was. 2015. And I've gone down there, and there was just like, I could hear things running around in the bush, like big tree snaps. Something was like 800 meters away. It was making this weird noise. It wasn't a bird or owl call, and it was a weird noise. And I had my sound dish, I had my sound recorder, but because it was raining, I put it on to try and record it. It just didn't pick it up, but my hearing could pick it up. But the sound recorder was just getting all the pitter patter from the rain. Anyway, I was stuck inside my tent, and I had me little like a little cover and that tarp over the top, and I could only stand between the tarp and the tent, and I had all my sleeping bag was half wet. Everything was wet to get in. It was raining when I got in, and then this thing stood near my tent, maybe 3 meters away, and it was like 8 foot tall. There's this black shadow, and it's just let out this massive like noise. And I just didn't even want to turn the light on to try and get a photo. I was just scared shitless. I was like, this is pitch black, but I could see this shadow. And when it made this noise, all these bang, cracks, boom, boom, crash, gone. No noise. It was like they disappeared. It was like something just beamed me up, Scotty. They were gone. And this thing just took one step, and I didn't see it no more. I didn't even hear it walking through the bush. It was like it just disappeared. Like it just jumped off the cliff.
Silent mode. And
I was just like, what the hell? I was just quiet. All it was, you could hear the rain. But from 7 o'clock at night, I'm telling you, to like 4 o'clock in the morning when this happened, was just constant crash, bang, boom, and these things were just running around. Anyway, I've left. The next morning, I've got all my stuff ready. And when I first got there was one guy that come in, and he camped right up the bush more. I camped near the toilet and all that, because it was like, all right, I put my bag inside the toilet while I set the tarp up, so I can set my tent up and then put all my stuff out of the toilet underneath the tarp and then get ready. But most of my stuff was already wet. There was only one or two things dry. I was lucky it wasn't that like cold, otherwise I would have froze.
You didn't have a pack cover, a rain cover?
Yeah, but I did, but the one on that bag was shit. So I used it and it was just crap. Anyway, yeah. So
I kept my gear inside a clear plastic garbage bag.
Yeah.
I have my sleeping gear inside one, and inside my main compartment another one, and put things in stuff sacks as well.
Yeah. Well, I've left there. I've got all my stuff ready. I'm about to leave, and it's the guy that I first met when I went in and was just pissing down rain. I was fully wet. He said, he said to me, he goes, "Did you hear their noises last night?" I go, "What?" He goes, "All these things running around, cracking branches. Must be heaps of possums here." And I went, "There's not possums, mate." And he's like, "I'm out of here." And I was supposed to stay there the Saturday night, Sunday night, come back Monday. Because it rained so much and there's creeks and all that there, I went, if this place floods, I'm not getting out. So overnight, I hiked back out. It took 5 hours to hike in, took 5 hours to hike out.
Now, have you seen the pictures of this place, Josh?
Yeah, I have. I know what you're referring to.
It looks like Jurassic Park. It's like the Grand Canyon full of bush.
Yep.
This is mean ass bush. Like all of us, we were in pretty good shape, and that hike destroyed all of us. We were all walking like retards for about a week after. Everyone
that walked in, doesn't matter which way they came from, they're all like hugging the trees, like, "Thank God I'm here." If you're gonna hike in, take light pack, take a whole day to get in, even if it's 7-8 hours. Take your time, stay there a couple of nights. You don't go there one night and walk up and down Perry's, because when you walk down Perry's, it's like that, and when you walk up, it's like that all the way, the whole way. There's no, "Oh, it's going to be flat for a kilometre," mate. It's like you're hard slog every step, And then when we got out the next couple of days, everyone's like, "Oh, why did you take a stair down?" I said, "Well, you said yes. I didn't make you go."
on the way down, I even cartwheeled off the side of the track because it had rained before we got there, and the edge of the track had got all soft, and I stood on the edge, too close to the edge, and it gave way, and I went with my pack and did a full cartwheel off the side of the mountain.
I grabbed you once, and the next time you were just like, I think you actually slid down.
Yeah, the next time I slid halfway down to the next zigzag.
Yeah. Wow. Oh shit, Adam! But you had since then you've cut down heaps.
Yeah, I've more than half the weight that I carry now. I maximum say 15 kilos, 10 or 15 now.
Yeah, so no, it was really that was really hard. I just wish there wasn't that many people there, and for the effort we put in, we got something. But I probably won't. If I do go in there, it'll just be walking during the day with a day pack, But I won't be going down Perry's. I'll be coming down Govetts Leap and coming down the junction there, and that's it. But yeah, we're going to try and plan a few easy ones, and if anyone wants to come, just let us know. Just send me an email at australianyowie@gmail.com and say you wouldn't mind coming out for to join us for a Yowie research night. Mainly, it's usually just Saturday nights, unless it's a long weekend, and we'll do Saturday night, Sunday night, like we did at the where was it? Wee Jasper. But mainly it's just a Saturday night, so where everyone can get back home and go to work on Monday. So yeah, so we're trying to find places where we can, like I said, get there easy, but have the best chance of getting something on film or sound recording or something like that. So, I've had a few things happen at night. Like me and Darren have gone out a couple of nights, and we went to Falconbridge, and you go to I think it's called Falconbridge Point or Falconbridge Lookout or something. We got all the way there. It's like 6.5 kilometers to get there. Nothing. We get to the lookout, sit down, have a coffee, and that. In the daytime, it'd be perfect. There's a nice big lookout. You can see the Grace River and that. I've got the parabolic. I'm walking back. We get about 10 minutes walking back, and I can hear something moving in the bush. I said, "Darren, quiet, quiet." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Quiet." You can hear finger clips, like one or two of them doing the back, or like mouth clicking, like this. Sounds really weird. I've never had that before ever, and I got that on sound recording. And then another time, I think we went to Hazelbrook to another area, and we did a wood knock, and I had Darren had a parabolic dish, and he picked up a wood knock reply coming from where there's no houses or anything. So, but you could only hear it on the parabolic. That's how far away it was. I couldn't hear it with my ears. So that was a weird one. So we've got a few things that over the years.
we get results maybe between 50% and say 70% of the time we go out.
Yeah.
So which is pretty good. But we do go to areas where there are hotspots, where there's been previous sightings, where we've had activity before, or we've read reports and heard reports of activity before. So we do lots of research for that as well.
Yeah, I just wish when we did the Yowie the doco that we got something a bit more. We went to all places we thought that we'd get something, and it would have been good.
You never know, because each place you go to, at one time of the year it can be a real hotspot. At the other time of the year it's dead. Because
that's surprised now. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. I'm telling you now. We went there, it's dead as Fred. But when we went there before with Scott and all that, there was heaps.
But it's the time of year. You gotta see that the Yowies may only come through that area at certain times of the year. That they're following the food, they're following the weather. Who knows? We don't know enough about them to know these habits. Maybe if we had some access to some AI or quantum computer where we could put all the Yowie reports, and we maybe even be able to do this anyway ourselves, but it'll just take a lot of work, and collate all the data of the locations and the time of year, and see if we can find a pattern.
All right. If you got Adam, every time I go out, I put everything on my computer and I put the date.
Me too. Yeah, I always put the date as well.
Right. What we'll do, you and me, we'll put down the dates.
I've got books, and we've got hundreds of Yowie reports, mate, witness reports, and it tells you, a lot of them tell you the date and the time, like when they occurred and what time of year.
Like on the one for Tony Healy and that. So, but even our ones, we'll put down the date when we seen it, or what we had happen.
And we have to make sure we go back at that same time of year.
Yeah, and we'll just go, if that's going to happen then, mate, we'll go back around that month, or within a week or two of that date, or if we can go on that date itself, depends what time we get to, from work, and see if we get it something else. Because when I've gone down to Vera Falls, I've had whoops there. I'm not sure there's a bird that does a whoop, but it didn't really sound like a bird. There was one from one side, one from another, and I felt like something was looking at me. And there was these massive boulders and all these little rocks. There was like 50 of them put all over the rocks.
Because with the lyrebirds, yes, they do mimic everything under the sun, and we're fully aware of that. But you can usually tell a lyrebird, because even when it mimics, it will still do bird calls after, or different types of calls, and you can hear the variation in the bird calls, and you just know it's the lyrebird because it's doing 5 to 10 different types of calls. It's quite hilarious, but it's quite easy, and also I get to visually see them. Like last time we were in Sassafras, on the way out, I ran into the lyrebird, and we can see their sign everywhere because they're digging up the trails and looking for bugs everywhere.
But they're quiet at night when things are walking around. They're quiet at night time.
Yeah, they're fairly quiet. Yeah, they're more active during the day, the lyrebirds.
What I was saying before, when I went to Vera Falls, I was with someone, and they actually heard the rock clack as well, and they didn't believe in it. And I went, this is why I'm down here. This is why I'm setting up trail cams. And they kind of went, oh shit, what's going to be down here to put 2 rocks together like that? And it was really loud. And I'm like, there's no trail around here. The only trail is the one we come on. There's no one down here. So we went looking around. I said, I told you, there's nothing here. And they're like, oh shit, because it was clearly, we were just sitting there having a coffee. It was like clack, clack, really loud. I'm like, the kangaroo's not going to pick it up. A wallaby's not. A possum's not. A wombat's not. What else is there? There's no people here. So they were like, oh, okay, I think you might be onto something here. So, yeah.
Josh, do you get a lot of activity in WA? I know there's a lot less people, and therefore there's a lot less researchers out there. But,
There is. And while I've been listening to you guys, Adam and Dan, one of the biggest things for me is I find it really difficult to find not necessarily researchers, but anyone that has an interest in it to come out with me. My kids have got no problem in coming out with me. In fact, they love doing it. But I don't want to be taking them out at 10 o'clock at night when they've got school the next day. But, yeah, I've just found it really difficult. I did get to go out with West Oz Yowie Research, but he ran into a few personal issues of recent. so I haven't been able to do that. However, I have been able to reconnect with him just today, and I'm hoping to be able to meet up with him before me and the kids go to the eastern states in August. But no, there's not a huge amount of recorded activity here in WA. I mean, there are sites that I believe there is a lot more Yowie activity than others. Avon Valley National Park is one of them, and Nick at West Oz Yowie Research sort of agreed with me. In fact, he'd had a couple of things happen while he was there with his kids, which sort of sparked even more curiosity to me. I've only ever heard a few sounds while I've been camping there. Avon Valley National Park's just outside of Perth, in the Perth Hills. I think it's about 16,000 hectares. There's only 2 campsites, one on the southern side, one on the northern side, and absolutely nothing else but wilderness in between that. So there's a lot of land there for something to...
It's mean bush too.
Sorry?
It's mean bush.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some of it's pretty thick and pretty mean and gnarly to get into and out of, and steep as well, because the Avon River runs all the way through it. So, yeah, you've got some steep inclines and declines there. Dwelling up State Forest is another one that I think sparks a bit of interest for me. And then, of course, the Moore River Nangara pine forest, where I actually took and casted a Yowie print. I've only ever got 2 Yowie prints in my life. The second one is from just earlier this year, and I sent that to a guy in America called Matt. He runs a channel called Masquatch, and to get an idea of the print, because I just had no idea and I didn't know who to turn to. I sent a copy of the picture to Russell Ladmore, or the Rusty 222's channel, but I didn't hear back from him, and I know he's pretty busy. So yeah. But I did find it surprising that I would get anything when I visited down Bustleton Way. I didn't think I'd find absolutely anything at all, or not Bustleton, but the back roads of that whole area. But what I did get, I was pretty impressed with. And then again, I always let my subscribers tell me what they think it is. I never make the assumption that...
That's a good approach.
Yeah. Well, like you guys, like Dan and you were saying before, not every single thing you come across is going to be evidence of Yowies or thylacoleo or whatever it is.
Whatever you're looking for, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's simply not going to be that way. And, you do get...
Dan and I have a big thing against people who they're putting circles around what they think is a Yowie or whatever, and they're also putting like eye marks as well and all this nonsense. In one of the videos I did, where a subscriber said this is what it could be. This could be a Yowie. It's got an ape-like sort of shaped face. Yeah, I put a circle around it, and then I left it to my subscribers to work out. If obviously if you want to show somebody what area, but you should show people the picture first and see if people can see what you're seeing, and
sure.
then you show them another picture, with the circle. Because I do the circle too, but that's when But I give give people a chance to see what you see without any suggestion or anything.
Well, the last time we went out to Sassafras, me and Roger were standing there, and I went, see that dark figure over there? And he's like, oh yeah, I can see it. I said, look, we'll take a photo of it. So Roger took one with his camera. I did. I filmed it, zoomed in. I said, all right, let's go there. So we went around there. It's just a tree. Shows you it was just a tree that was a bit darker than anywhere else, but it just looked like a shape of something there. But it wasn't. It was a tree that was kind of bent like this, and it was like 20 foot in the air. So I'm saying, this is what the worst thing is. People go walking through the bush, snap, take 100 photos, and then they look at them later on the computer. Oh, look at that dark shadow there. That's got to be something. Circle it. Could be anything. Like, how do you know? But they keep doing it, and they do it over and over and over again. And the biggest thing is it makes people like you and me look like fools because
they say everything's a Yowie. They're like, it's definitely a Yowie. It's definitely a Yowie.
Question it, and if you question it, no, it's not. It's
you
definitely
have to show like that GIF that I showed, where there's 3 images, you can see the change in the facial expressions. You can see the difference in the images, and that's what you need. You need the before and after, or the after and before. You know,
like Rusty did when he had that one. He did
so
the
you go there, you measure it, you show how tall you are. You need to comparison images.
Where it was from you, what angle, everything like that.
Yeah,
really.
There were some people there. One lady there, she took 2 photos. She said, "Look, I took 2 different angles." I'm like, "Well, you're showing the same thing. I don't know. It just looks like a burnt tree to me because what it is, I'll see the bottom bit and it might look like a shape, but then there's a bit of bush there. But above the bush, you can see the rest of the tree growing up. So that's
you've got to see movement. You've got to show multiple images, and if there's movement, you know.
But yeah,
so there's that, and then like I watch people like what's his name, Jason.
Jason.
Let's just say J&J. So, but I often sort of think, I know you guys sort of pay him out a bit, but I often think, you know, one day someone's going to get really good footage, and it's probably going to be someone like that. You know, it's not going to be you or me or Dan. It's going to be one of those sort of people that's going to get something good. So that's why I sort of watch a lot of their stuff. But there's a lot of stuff I don't believe in. You know, like I just don't.
Yeah. Just on that note, okay, we've shown photos of theirs where they're out with other people and they're putting on fake Yowie feet.
Yeah, right.
Okay, we've shown the photos of Jason out there with his mates, and he's sitting down, and the guy's putting on a big fake Yowie footprint.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what got me is because I used to watch a fair bit of them, but when I first started getting into the whole YouTube stuff, and I didn't know anything, and then I watched them. I watched their live interview on, I think it was Channel 7 or Channel 9, and then I watched the video right before they went on live, and they were near some sort of Nepalese gardens or something, and they were doing like taekwondo and some sort of stupid shit, and I just thought, I can't believe that those 2 guys are the face for all of us researchers. I just couldn't believe it.
They're not the face.
No, but what they do, they get there and they ring up the TV stations and say, "Look, this is what I found. Put me on TV." And they go, "All right, these 2 look like lunatics. Let's put them on to make fun of them."
Make fun of the rest of us, you know, make us all look bad, you know.
Yeah, but have you seen the Yowie claw one?
Sorry?
Have you seen the J&J's Yowie claw when it comes around there and it has the claw around a tree?
Yeah, I have, but it doesn't look anything like what they say.
See the strap there that they forgot to tie up?
Yeah. No, I just think that, I think
and the one with the apples where it looks like the person's wearing a head torch or something.
Yeah, I just sort of think that whole thing is it's a waste of time, and the people that are commenting either don't know, they're too foolish to know, like I was, and since then I've met people that have sort of subscribed to my channel, and I've sort of alluded them to the fact that, you know, these guys are hoaxers and that they do things off the cuff, and they can't believe it. They're like, "Oh my God, I had no idea."
Yeah. When you see that they've got 39,000 subscribers and their videos are getting 150 views, they're buying the subscribers. You pay $10 per 1,000 subscribers or something.
To China, and they're where they've got, you know, hundreds of phones liking and subscribing to people's accounts. So
and I think
you can pay for them.
And something Dan was saying ages ago about the Yowie Times and how he spends a lot of time on that magazine and he's constantly, you know, deleting stuff and things don't work. I know that from this perspective of my channel, where, you know, I could spend up to 3 days researching something. Whether it's Yowie related or not, and then after you've researched it, you've got to be able to narrate some videos or do voiceovers.
And when you make videos, you can take 8 or 10 takes, you know.
Exactly, and that's what I do. I take so much B-roll stuff that doesn't get put out there.
But to get everything right, you know.
Exactly. I mean, I did one the other day for my backyard 4x4 channel, and I was editing it through, and I was like, who wants to see me scratch my balls? You know, like nobody wants to see that.
No, you know
So,
what the worst thing is? I thought it's a funny thing actually when you're trying to do a video and you're in the middle and you're really right into it and you're discussing this. The next minute you drop this big dirty fart and you're like, oh shit, I'll do it again.
Exactly, and then you've got to edit all that out.
Just go, oh man, I got to do this again.
But we do this for fun. We're not professionals, but we have a professional approach in that we're not messing about. We have credibility. We don't hoax or anything like that. Like, we're serious researchers because we're doing it for ourselves first and foremost. We're not doing it for anyone else. We're not doing it to be famous. We're not doing it just to put it on YouTube or get monetized ads or anything like that. We're doing this all because we want to do it and because we're serious. We don't need to prove anything to anyone because we've got enough. Dan and I both have video and photos of Junjuddy. Dan has actual video of the Yowie, the one up behind him. We know they exist. We've had so much, like, we've got the recordings of howls, we've been growled at, and we've got recordings of wood knocks and rock clacks and everything you could imagine. We've got so much data and evidence of these Yowies that for us there's no questions of their existence. But we always want to learn more, we want to see more, we want to experience more. And like you should have seen the look on Dan's face when he was in shock when he had that daytime sighting up in the Watergans. When I got to him, he was like, he was in shock. It was incredible. He just could not believe that what he saw. He was like in the middle of the day. Like, it was phenomenal.
It's imprinted in my brain. And we actually, when we went back there, I got Adam to walk exactly where it was, and he's walking, going, "No, you got to walk faster. You got to walk like you're nearly running." And
we did a reenactment and everything. So
I'm like, "Yeah, that's how you got to do it." He's like, "Shit, that was moving quick." I'm going, "Yeah, that's how quick. I only got like 2 seconds or 3 seconds of it."
By the time it zoomed in, it was gone.
Yeah, and where the camera was pointing, the sun was there, so it was like blinded it out. Kind of by the time it fully focused, it was already gone. So I've got to update.
And just getting back to what we were talking about before, so so in my areas, I just don't need enough people, I suppose. You meet plenty of people online and a lot of you in the eastern states, but it often makes me wonder. I met someone I spoke to someone recently who lives up in Kununurra way, and some of the things that he has seen. I think he works as a licensed surveyor, so he has to go out into the middle of bumfuck nowhere and go to these really remote parts, and he gets to talk to some of the indigenous communities as well, those really remote communities, and some of the things they talk about, but they don't talk about a Yowie. They talk about something more like a taramali, a much larger creature that exists up in the sort of Kimberley regions,
like the Quinkin.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So like Paul McLeod's the Quinkin. They sort of talk of the taramali up there, and it makes me wonder how many more experiences and accounts people have got or have had, and they don't come forward often for fear of ridicule.
Yeah.
Ridicule is a big one, and that's what I get on my channel a lot. People saying, I want to remain anonymous because I don't want to be ridiculed, or I've got family or friends,
and people don't even know what it is. Dan and Roger went to go get this sighting report from this couple, and they thought they were going to get a Yowie sighting report, and they drew a picture of this creature, and it looked like a praying mantis.
Praying mantis thing, and they said it was just pitch black, and the what happens that they live. I won't say where they live, but it's near bushland and that, and the girlfriend of the couple, she said she's seen it, but she's I can't remember where she worked, but she got home later. She gets home late, like 9-10 o'clock at night. Anyway, it's really quiet their area. When we went there, there's no one walking around. Everyone's like, the pub and everything is all closed. Anyway, so she's going in, and then she just looks across the road, and there's this thing right across the street, and the road's not really that wide. Like, if you drive along 2 cars are just going to fit on this road. It's really thin. Anyway, she sees it and she's like, oh, what the hell? And the boyfriend, he works night shift, so he's not there. He gets home at like 1 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock or something like 3 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, he gets back and she tells him about it. He's like, what? No, it can't be nothing. So anyway, we did an interview. I put it on my Blue Mountains page. We did an interview and asked some questions. And they were pretty, straight away, didn't have to think. They, when someone's lying, they kind of like take a bit to answer it. They just come off the top of their head like that. They knew what they saw. Anyway, maybe it might have been a couple of days or a week later or something. He's come home and he's got out and he said, oh, it was just a warm night. I just felt like just having a smoke outside before I went inside. He says sometimes me and a mate would play games or something because we're still wide awake. We're not sleepy after working night shift. He says, I'm out the front there and I'm looking, and he goes, next minute, I see to the left-hand side across the road, this big black thing. He goes, it's bloody like 10 foot tall, and when they told us what it looked like, he said it was pitch black, no features on it, and it looked like a big praying mantis. And he goes, bloody hell, she was telling the truth. And they refuse to go outside at night now. They're really scared. So, and there's a lot of houses. It's all houses there. Across the road, there's probably one house and there's bush.
But they thought it was like a yowie, and it's not, obviously not a yowie. It looks, you should see what the drawing that they drew. It looks like a praying mantis creature.
Me and Roger had gone in there with the night vision and our parabolic dishes, and something was moving around there, but it sounded more like a kangaroo. So we were walking around as much as we could. We stayed there for a couple of hours, and then after I think about 3 hours there, it was pretty quiet. So we just went back, had a chat to them and said, oh, we're going to get going now, but if anything happens, get back to us and we'll come and have a look. But so one thing I want to ask you, Josh, over in WA, is there any like paintings from Aboriginal paintings that are like yowie shaped in that? And whereabouts are they?
Sorry, go ahead.
And whereabouts are they? What areas like?
Yeah, sure. So, as I was saying before, up in the Kimberley, but further down in the Pilbara, there are cave paintings of yowies, but they're not yowies. They're more the Taramali type, so the Quincan, the much bigger, 13, well, they say 13 to 19 foot. I mean, 19 foot's huge. I almost can't imagine that. That almost puts them into the category of the giants.
19 foot.
19 feet?
Yeah. 19 foot, up to 19 foot, not 19 foot and upwards. So that's pretty bloody tall. And then I was speaking, up until recently, I was speaking to a Noongar elder. So the Noongar people are the sort of people that traditionally own the Perth area. So he's an Aboriginal elder, and he was telling me that there's cave paintings in and behind Kalamunda, or the Shire of Kalamunda, which is within the Perth metropolitan area. And there's cave paintings of yowies in there. So I've yet to go and look at the location that he's given me. I won't tell you where it is right now, but I'm definitely going to go and look at it within the next 2 weeks. I'm going to take the kids with me, take some snaps as well. But they're the only 2 locations that I know of. There is a third one out near a place called Stockyard Gully Caves, or Stockyard Valley Caves. And I can't remember the name of the cave. I think it's called Eagle Cave or something like that. But there's supposed to be paintings out there, but I've not been out that way because it's about a 4-hour drive from me heading north into the middle of bugger all nowhere.
Okay, yeah, well, I've never heard. I don't think there's any cave paintings in New South Wales. I know there's probably some up Queensland way, maybe it's something like that, or Northern Territory. But you see, even in the Yowie book that the boys have made, the Tony Healy and that, they've got that picture of the Yowie, and it's got its arms kind of bending out like that. I don't know where that one is.
Right.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. I'm not sure where the paintings were, where they're at, but it'd be good to try and see if you can pinpoint them where exactly they are around Australia, and see if there's like some sort of, something in common with, are they all on the same kind of like, you know, you get some things all along, like the what do you call them, the equator and stuff like that. Like you got like the pyramids all on one line all around the world. Is it somewhere where they're all going to be, you know, they're not just everywhere? There's some sort of.
So something that I was going to do for WA is I wanted to start a like a pin drop. Just
plot where all the sightings are.
Plot where all the, so we're talking about sightings, so I can take that off places like yowiehunters.com and that. They've got something similar for WA, but they don't have a complete list. So I'd like to be able to take a complete list from Kununurra in the north to, you know, Albany in the south and across to Esperance or Eucla, for the whole area, including all the desert regions, and then also things like, you know, paintings, strange disappearances from people, because people do go missing. And so I'm wanting to sort of tie that in with a live stream I did recently about the missing 411 cases in Australia, because I believe
when was it? The David Pilates, he came here and he did a 411 series when he was in Australia, and one of the people that he did the 411, the Australian videos on, I was actually there when they found I was in the area when they found the guy's body.
Wow.
And because they were doing something with a helicopter, I don't know if it was like a training thing or whatever, and they actually thought that somebody, like one of their colleagues or whatever, had put a dummy there as part of, like, to test them. And they didn't realize that it was actually a person, you know. But yeah, I was wondering what this helicopter's doing, flying backwards and forwards, and then it just started staying in this in the one area. And I was like, and it had been many weeks since the person disappeared. But this guy, so there's all sorts of strange stuff about that one.
There is. And like, in terms of Yowie sightings, they seem to happen few and far between in WA. You know, you've got Australind, Bunbury and Margaret River in the south. I've heard of one in Quarrama. There's one just outside of Darkin there. You go up north, one in Exmouth, which is miles from Perth, you know, a couple of days' drive, in fact, heading north. And then you get them out in the sort of semi-arid / desert areas, such as the Murchison area, which is just outside of Kalbarri. It's the same location they're building the SKA, or Square Kilometre Array. There's been a couple of sightings out there as well. So I think they're not sort of just in very heavily dense wooded areas. They happen all over the place, which I was surprised by. I was always under the impression that they'd be always hanging around close to dams and waterways, and they would.
The same here in the eastern states as well. There's lots of reports further inland where there's, you know, not in the Great Dividing Range, you know, out near Walgett and you know, up in like, it's more flat. It's just flat as, you know. There's nothing out there. There's not a whole lot of bush. But yeah, so there is the occasional, you know, sighting in the places out here on the east coast as well. And I was under the assumption that the Yowies would be more in the deeper bush, but that's not the case. They're up here in the Blue Mountains and everything. They're right next to the houses, like, you know. So
look at Neil Frost.
Well, I think they're maybe, some of them are maybe opportunistic. There's a suburb out the back of the Perth Hills suburbs called Roleystone, and it's a well-known suburb for what they think are Yowies to exist there. They're having issues with something going through their bins, and not bins at the front, bins at the back, doors of gates being left open, and security cameras capturing night vision of a rather large, dark creature. So, I mean, the mind doesn't have to sort of boggle too much to figure out what that's going to be. And so there are reports there in Roleystone of a rogue Yowie.
Well, up here in the Blue Mountains, in certain areas, they rob the dog food. So, people's dog food.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, take the chickens, or what they like. I heard Heath, who's one of the researchers in our Blue Mountains group, who come out with me to near Mount Solitary. He reckons he was at a party that the people live near, not really that far away from, I think a street away from Neil Frost, and he reckons they leave the goon bags up after they drink the wine. They blow the goon bag up and they hang them from the trees, and they love the goon bags. You see the goon bag getting ripped off, and then next minute it's getting run through the bush.
Empty goon bags.
Yeah, empty. They're not full. Yeah, they've got to drink them first, but they get there, blow them up, and they hang them, and then the next day all the goon bags are gone. Yeah, the next minute they're all busted in the bush, and they go and pick them up, bring them back up, and chuck them in the bin. And then when they have a few more, have another party, they hang them, they tie them up, and sometimes they see them get ripped off in the bush, and then they'll just see it flying through the bush, the goon bag, and they'll put the torch on it, and you see the goon bag shine, and then you hear boom, and it's popped. So they'll come up and grab another one. And he said, yeah. So if you want to attract them, I've heard they reckon the goon bag, the shininess of the goon bags. So you have a bit of fun drinking the goon, and then you have a bit of fun attracting the yowies later. So
Mate, there's nothing worse than a yowie.
Meanwhile, in Australia.
Exactly. Very true.
So yeah, I've heard that one. So I've heard a few different things what attract them, but yeah. Anyway, it's getting 9:30 now here. We've been going for about 2.5 hours, so we'll leave it at that. It was just a spur of the moment. Finally get to talk to Josh. I asked him today while I was at work at a site doing some jobs, some work, saying, do you want to have a chat? He's like, yeah, no worries. Let's get on. What's it going to be about? I said, anything, Yowie. That's what they are. It's like most of the time we don't plan what we're going to talk about. We just get on and just ask each other what you've been doing, or is there anything new? You know, like, is there any, stupid videos out there, or any good ones, something like that. So that's basically what these chats are about. And so this month, Yowie Times is 1 year old, like I said before, and I never thought it'd get there. And yeah, it's like, it doesn't seem like it's been a year since I started today. It's just like, it was just a thing in the back of my mind saying it should be kind of like a magazine or something that people can, because there's a lot of
nothing.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reports that people like go, oh, there wasn't much involved in it. Like, I didn't really see it that long, but I said, well, just write it anyway, because what you saw for whatever fleeting moment, someone else might have seen exactly the same thing, and then you'll be sitting there and go, gee, I did see something. It wasn't something that I thought it might have been a pig running through the bush, or it could have been someone dressed in they always say someone dressed in a gorilla costume. How many times have you got out the bush and someone's running around dressed in a gorilla costume? Like the only time I see someone dressed in the gorilla costume is at the city to surf, and there's always some idiot in the gorilla costume running in front of everyone. That's it. I never see it anywhere else. So
mate, it's too hot to wear a ghillie suit, let alone a bloody gorilla costume.
I know. That's what I see. So anyway, 1 year old for the Yowie Times, and I just try to make them as best as I can. And the only thing hard is getting pictures, like people sending in pictures of any kind of evidence, or pictures for like Reader's Snapshot, and the witness reports. I'm always working hard to get them. I've got a Bigfoot one for this month. I haven't got a Yowie report, and I can only put them in there if people send them to me or message me somehow, because I can't make them up. They're the actual witness report.
You rely on contributors.
Rely on contributors for it, because it's I'm not getting paid. I'm not paying anyone. It's just people doing it on their own free will to say, yeah.
We've got regular people submitting regular articles in certain types of articles every month. We've got the regular contributors, and then but the Yowie reports, obviously, or the Bigfoot reports, obviously random based on whoever is able to provide them.
Yeah, and people think that they haven't seen enough. They think they need to see it for 5 or 10 minutes and tell every little detail, but it's not the case.
We want anything and everything.
Yeah, and people write the stories, the reports in their own way. Every way is different. That's what makes them good. Like most people are just out, driving a car, and they're just like the passenger, and they're looking out. Next minute, shit, what's that on the side of the road? And they might see it for 4 or 5 seconds, but in their mind, they know straight away, what's that? That's a big hairy ape. And that's what, and they're not into Yowies. They're not into anything like that. They're just in a car going through a bushland area to go from A to B. Next minute they see something, and then straight away they think of a hairy ape. You know what's hilarious about that is for a country that doesn't have any known primates. According to science, we sure do have a lot of bloody Yowie sightings. Yeah, and not everyone is lying, and not everyone is just saying.
Not everyone's telling the truth either.
I've seen some I've heard some good the audio reports that Dean's got on the Yowie Hunters YouTube, and some of the people they're just going for a walk, and the way they talk, they're well educated people. They've got a good job, or they're retired, and some people are 50, 60 years old, and then they're seeing something that walks right in front of them while they live in the Blue Mountains, and they've been hiking that trail for 30, 40 years. Next minute, they're like, someone's convinced them, talk to them, because they're not going to treat you like, they're not going to laugh at you, because that's what it is. They want to be laughed at. They don't want to be known that they're talking about something that shouldn't be there. So, that's what.
Which is weird, Dan, because Indigenous Aboriginals will tell us that 70,000 years ago, when they made it to the mainland Australia, that the Yowie was already here.
Yeah,
it was here long before them.
Yeah, long before 70,000 years ago. So I mean that in human years is actually quite a long bloody time. That's many, many generations.
Oh yeah.
For something to exist here already, and yet people still deny its existence after all of the evidence that people have put forward. They still deny it. I think that's an eye-opener in itself. I think it's amazing that people are more willing to believe that aliens come from other planets via a UFO.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're getting visited by them in Australia now more than ever, yet they won't work the notion that a 6 to 13 foot, say, a hairy being who Indigenous Aboriginals have reported for thousands of years to live here does actually exist. Because
a science book written in 1950 that people read at school says there's nothing here. That's what it is. It's science.
Some of it, yeah. I mean, when I went to school, none of the stuff I've learned since I left school was ever taught to me. 90% of what I've learned since I left school, I knew nothing about. And I mean, even now, I don't really watch mainstream media anymore. My only way of getting the news is the Saturday paper that comes. I get it all in one go. I generally. Oh well, I like to keep up with some of it, but yeah, I mean, I just don't watch TV like I used to do anymore. I don't sit there watching The Bachelor at 7:30 at night.
It's like
we got far more interesting things to look at.
I'm seeing shows and building shows and renovation shows and all that other crap.
We're making the reality TV with our stuff, I tell you.
Yeah, we're getting out there and enjoying ourselves. Like most people, this is what they're doing. They get home and they're like this all day.
Yeah, exactly.
When we go out, I turn my phone off because we're not getting reception where we go.
No point anyway. Yeah.
I like to turn it on if I want to take a photo, and that's about all. But I don't turn it on. It just stays in my backpack. I forget about it. Sometimes I don't even take it because I know I'm not going to get reception, so I just take my camera.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. Anyway, it's 9:30, so what we'll do, we'll end it now. We can plan another one if you want to plan another one, Josh or Adam or anyone.
What time tomorrow, Dan?
Same time, same bat channel. Cool. We had a bit of a talk the other night, me and Adam, about things, but it's just mainly I said where we're going to go to our next, day out or night out.
Research trip.
Next trip.
Overnight.
We've been saying Woodford, so we're more than likely going to go to Woodford. It's we can glamp, and if you want to go drive out and get something to eat or something, if you've left something, you can go up the shops and come back. Even though I don't think there's much shops at Woodford, you have to go down the road a bit, but no.
We haven't car camped or glamped in a long time. We've all been hiking in for countless times.
Last one was the Wattigans when we went there when they had the bloody train horn, and that was last year.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't remember. It was a few months last year, but But before that was Woodford. Like we we drive, we park and then we hike. So yeah, we do the hard yards. It's like, you know, up and down the Blue Mountains. There's very little flat trails. It's all up and down steps. Like even the Wiggins Trail might be only 700 meters, but it still takes you half an hour, 40 minutes to go up or down it. So, you know, and you got like 30 kilos in your backpack. By the time you get down, there's still another kilometre or so to the campsite, and then you've got to set the camp up. So you're pretty buggered by the time you get there. And we're hiking.
Have you thought about using a hammock with a pack cover?
What's that?
I said, have you guys ever? You always talk about sleeping in tents, but have you ever done it in a hammock? So when I go out sometimes on my own and I'm going to stay the night.
Roger camps in a hammock. He sleeps in a hammock.
I can't sleep in a hammock. I can't do it.
I have got them, but I prefer the tent.
Yeah, it's like you're stuck in a fetal position. You can't get out of it.
It's just so easy to set up. That's all. Like all I was thinking is, you know, you when I hike for like 15.
When you have the trees for it.
Sometimes all we got is only little trees. You can't, you know.
Like with Roger at Maramara.
I know we had, but then if he hasn't got the right trees, Roger's one by the end of it, he's like laying in the dirt. We get up in the morning and he goes, "What are you doing, Roger? I thought it's supposed to be hanging in the air." And he's like, "Oh,
it's a hammock."
Yeah, so it's in a dirt. So that was only a Marimoto. Yeah. So he has to bring.
In Sassafras, he ended up on the ground too.
Yeah, not the last one. The one before that, I think it was. He was virtually on the ground. So, but I don't know. I get up at crack of dawn, and 5 hours later, Roger gets out. So it's comfortable. He sleeps in it, but I don't know. I've got to lay this side. I've got to lay that side. I've got to lay spread eagled. I can't be in this little
eagled. Jeez.
I know. Yeah.
Last time he didn't even sleep in his sleeping bag.
It didn't. Yeah, it was cold, and I just had shorts. No, I just had long pants on and a shirt, and that's it. And all I did was have the jumper over me. I didn't even get my sleeping bag out. And Adam's like, "Oh, I got my thermals and that on." I'm going, "It's not cold." The only thing I did,
I had my down sleeping bag and everything.
I thought it was a bit cold, so I put socks on. That's about all. Socks, long pants in my shirt, and I just got my jacket, and I went, "Oh, I'll just put it over me. It's saves I don't get a sore back from the cold."
And he had his onesie sleeping bag. He didn't even open it the entire time.
Yeah, shouldn't have taken it. No.
Wow.
It was actually warm, and Roger was contemplating jumping in the pond. I went, "Roger, I think the pond water's a little bit too cold because we did swim in it last time, but a bloody tiger snake comes swimming through the creek
right next to us, like 10 feet away."
Roger, there's a snake. He's like, "What?" He's got his back to it. I'm like, "Roger, come here, there's a snake."
It's only a baby one, but
if it still bites you, mate, you're in trouble because you got to hike out.
More dangerous than the fully grown ones because they don't preserve their venom.
Yeah, they don't regulate the venom. They just pump everything in
here. They pump it all. All right, let's finish it off there. Otherwise, we'll be here all night.
It was nice speaking to you, Josh.
Yeah, it's nice
you too. I don't think I've known about you before tonight.
No one wants. It's MacGyver. There he is. You know, when we talk about MacGyver, there he is in person.
I was thinking more like David Crockett, but whatever.
I've always got the gadgets and everything and the gear. Because I write the gear articles in the Yowie Times.
Look, Josh, if you need something and you go to out with us, Adam goes, "Yeah, I got that." And then he pulls it out of his pocket. Oh, no, one of many. He's probably got about 50 on his little belt thing. But you know what? Every time I see him, he's got a new gadget. He's like, "Oh, look at my hat. My hat's got a light in it." And he goes, "Look at my beanie. I've got a beanie with a light in it." I'm like, "Come on, man."
Well, I usually give people that I know that are researchers here nicknames, so I think his can be Inspector Gadget.
No, well, I've said that, but MacGyver, mate, you go there, he starts. It's MacGyver. That's it.
You should see the stuff that I've done in the bush, mate. Picking stuff up
with toothpicks and goes, "Don't worry, I've got a fire starter, boys. I don't worry, give me a minute." That's Adam. Yeah, but I'm telling you now, when we went to we went to Woodford, and he goes in the bush and comes out with 4 tree branches the same size. "Oh, look what I found! They're all the same size." I'm like, "What the hell?" Next minute, he's tied up. It's all up. We're all underneath.
I had to trim them. They weren't exactly the same size. I had to trim them with my axe.
It wasn't.
Trim them with the axe, my tomahawk, and yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. When we go out, he always pulls out something out. He goes, "Ah, look what I bought! I just got this the other day. I found it. Got it at Vinnie's for $25. It's like this
I
Garmin."
got a GPS for $25 at Vinnie's, mate.
He's like, "Look at this."
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
It was in the city.
He's, I was in the past $25. Thank you very much. I'm like, come on, man. I don't get that.
It was a Garmin E-Trex or something like that. Yeah.
No, but it was really good because when we went hiking that time, we got a bit lost, and you go, no, this is where it said to go, and we end up getting back where we had to go. So that was good.
It
All
works,
right,
man.
it works. All right, that's it. Last time we're out of here. All right.
See you, mate. See you next time.
See you later.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for that. We'll plan one next time, and then we'll have a talk about something else. But like this, we talk for 3 hours.
That's good. I don't mind.
Yeah, no, either. But it's getting 9:40, and I've got to go to work tomorrow, so it's only like 7:40 there. So yeah, we started at 7 o'clock. Now it's 20 to 10.
Yeah, cool. I've got homeschooling tomorrow, so that's entertaining.
Awesome. All right, mate. You enjoy it, and good luck with your Yowie research, and hopefully, even by getting on this, you might get someone over there that's a bit keen to go out with you regular.
Yeah. Let's hope so. I have put it out there to a few people from your Facebook group, but nobody's got back to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, some people are not fit enough. Other people just, they want to be armchair researchers, and other people are too scared to go out. Yeah, that's what it is. Scared, man. I'm telling you, some people just don't want to go out, man. They've listened to the stuff we got or seen the videos and just go, nah, I'm into it, but I don't want to go out there.
Wow. When I hear that sort of stuff, it makes me want to go out there.
Yeah, me too. I've gone out by myself like you, but the only reason I like to go out with other people is because I enjoy the company, have a good chat. Plus, there's too many dangerous animals like snakes and that. If you get bit, you're in the middle of the Blue Mountains like by a brown snake, you're gone, mate. 1 hour, you're gone. See you later. So at least I can get help for you. Give you a chance. But all right, mate. Have a good night, and I'll speak to you soon.
Wicked. Cheers, man. Thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah, you do. Thank you very much. Thanks to the viewers. There's a few viewers have been watching, so thanks very much for watching tonight. If you've got any questions, get onto the Australian Yowie YouTube channel and ask any questions you want, or email me at australianyowie@gmail.com. See you all. Bye.